That's right.
Who's
Talking to the Rocky Patel.
Who is that?
And guess what, everybody? I'm John Wilson. I'm the gentleman.
And I'm Alex Stafford, and I'm the scholar. And welcome to our show. It's
welcome.
let's point out the obvious. Instead of a bottle of whiskey, we have bottles of wine.
Yes, we do.
And we have two people here with us. Everybody knows the Lipstick Leaves. This is Dr.
Hello.
Smoke, Lindsay Stanford, and then we got a good buddy of mine. He is a rather big dog in marketing and health insurance and all that good stuff. It is Mr. Mick Essex.
Hello.
And let's motivate exactly what we've changed here. So we're always doing bigger and better
turn the
things.
Labels around
And let's put these around
so
here.
we can see the labels.
Exploring other things that we're doing. And one of the things that Lindsay's gotten into is pairing different things with the cigars, whether it's an alcohol or an appetizer, an entree, stuff like that.
That's one of the crazy, amazing parts of ADHD is the hyper-focus part. And when I get really, really into something, I get really good at it. Then I quit. So don't get like.
Well, we'll write this one out as long as it goes. But we were talking to Mick about what we're going to drink, and he mentioned he was a real good big fan of wine. And so we talked to Lindsay about it, and she was like, I could totally do a pairing. So we're doing a flight of pairings. We have 3 bottles of wine because there are 3/3 in a cigar. And so
that's just as bougie as I was going to get. I was just going to get one, and then I got to the store, and I'm like, no.
This is exactly what I expected.
Of course,
right?
Like, what do they see in each other? The equal amount of bouge.
For sure.
Lots
I was like,
of bouge.
Yeah, we were talking about flavor notes of this Rocky Patel, and I was just like, God, we are so bougie about this. And he was just like, you mean excellent? Also that.
Because we are. So we're very excited. This is our first wine pairing on the show. So when we introduce the sticks, we'll get started with all of that. We do have a couple of housekeeping measures, though. I want to thank our sponsors, the Not Generally Cigar Smokers magazine.
Did you just say our sponsors?
Our
sponsors.
Studio.
You know what? I want to Sprite.
Shut up, John. But anyway, before I got so rudely interrupted, the Not So Gentlemanly Cigar Smokers magazine up in Canada, our good friends Chris and Susan, they're vacationing in was it Cabo?
I'm sorry, 5 weeks is no longer a vacation. That is changing your residence in some states. And I am super jealous. The only reason why I'm like being messy about it is because I'm like so absolutely jealous. Like I'm just like, I want to be by the pool every day.
We were going to go visit them, but apparently it takes forever to get a passport nowadays.
It takes literally 300 million years.
Some might say
that was the estimated.
What?
No.
Oh my God.
Which apparently there's not 2 things that are ever going right in the passport office, which is why it takes so freaking long.
No, I just said that because the party that I went to for my brother's 40th had raw base there. So, literally.
Wow. Like literally.
Amazing transitions, John.
Wow.
It was a great transition.
Most people are like, hey, that thing that was spontaneously said reminded me of something. Let me introduce it. But John's like, I'm going to plant that seed and then be like, and harvest it. Oh, by the way.
Okay, the rest of the housekeeping.
You're so smooth, John.
Let's do the rest of the housekeeping. Okay, guys. Apparently, I was the only one that took my Adderall this morning. So let's stay on task.
Sure.
What other housekeeping do we have to do, Alex?
Other housekeeping. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Share it. We enjoy all the support. The channel's growing. We're almost at the 200 subscriber milestone. So we're super excited about getting that to happen. And we look forward to doing bigger and better shows with more elaborate, aka expensive giveaways for you guys. And
I honestly should just post our I'll just post my Venmo. You guys can support our alcohol pairing habit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is expensive, but we need to do that. And we need to thank the Cigar Merchant for being our friend of the show, letting us use their beautiful shop for our backdrop.
Look at this amazing. Look, their humidor is just absolutely beautiful.
And they've pretty much given us free reign to their humidor, and they've got a lot of really good stuff. And so for this show, we were trying to decide what we're going to smoke, and I took a picture of a bunch of sticks that interested me that I thought would be a good pairing for our guests, because you always want to pick a cigar that is in a spot where the guests can appreciate it and not either be overpowered or just completely mystified by the flavor. So I gave him some shots. And John was like, "Oh, that RP all day." So what we're smoking,
I think what he said first was, I want to smoke all of them.
Oh,
at the same time.
At the same time.
At once.
a big cigar gangbang. I'm not surprised John would be into that.
John's just gonna be like, oh,
I want them in all my holes.
trying to smoke them all at one time. He's just like,
So we are smoking the Rocky Patel Special Edition, which we all know that we are big Rocky Patel fans, but I've never actually had this one, so I'm very excited to be giving this puppy a test drive. We know a little bit about the expected notes. I mean, I've smelled it, and so that's what's motivated the wines. So why don't we start our first pour and cut the cigars and go with our typical pre-fright, pre-light.
all right. So as you guys are going and like cutting all of those, Alex, you're gonna prep mine for me.
I will prep yours.
Thank you. I'll let you know about our first pairing, and our first pairing is a Sangiovese, which is a Spanish red. I really, really like what I really, really like about Rocky Patel, especially is it is just a not an overly sweet fruitiness to it, but an underlying fruitiness to the entire stick. That's just
definitely fruity. Definitely fruity.
Yeah, it just seems like to be like their underlying sort of taste note through their entire line.
Yeah, I think I had
Take a try.
mics backwards. So talk to the mic real quick.
You had the mics backwards.
Yeah, the mic's backwards.
Yeah, now you sound like
Now yeah.
so much different.
Yeah, I apologize for my production team today. We went out drinking and partying last night for the UFC, and apparently that's my fault. So my bad.
All right, so dry pull gives me immediate cherry, like heavy cherry.
Deep cherry, yes.
Yeah,
It's very
Heavy
reminiscent
cherry.
of the ALR.
Okay, so super heavy cherry, which is going to go perfectly with the Sangiovese, because the Sangiovese is a very sweet, juicy wine. Great
Succulent
for even succulent,
Ooh.
even possibly moist.
We like them succulent.
I don't know. But it has very low tannins. And it's just, I don't know, it's just very, very sweet, very cherry heavy. So I think you'll really like it.
I'm excited.
I'm going to,
I don't taste
Alex
cherry
just-
at all.
really?
But it tastes like a cigar to me.
Sounds like you.
See, I'm a super taster. So a lot of people will say, I find people that can find flavor notes to be full of shit. Frankly,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are just like, you're full of shit. You don't taste that. And I mean,
Forest honey.
yes, forest honey,
Forest.
not field honey, forest specifically. You can taste the pine and the honey. But I feel like people
Guys
that
just neglected the dry pull.
They're not yet.
no, we did. We talked about it. It was cherry,
Well, give it another good puff.
grape, whatever.
That's like
There you go.
the
Now you're good.
That's the wine. Okay. Alrighty. So let me switch
Okay, so now
out.
actually-
Let me pour.
Now that it's lit,
Right.
I do taste
Get some
the
cherry?
berry, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay,
Interesting.
So where can
Mhm.
I walk here? That is
What do you? What
You need me just to grab the bottle with my hand?
Yeah. Can I get your glasses? I need this.
Pass the glasses, gentlemen.
Okay.
Viva Elastic.
Don't worry about trying to keep your glass straight. I licked them all. It's fine.
So Garrett's in the house.
So, interesting piece of trivia, gentlemen. You'll never guess which accent of mine was discovered to have some sort of sexual appeal.
Which one of your accents?
Which one of my accents? I do a lot of accents. Apparently, girls find
A lot
wild.
of them.
Your
I'm
Irish
sorry.
is my favorite.
But
I'm a big fan of Scottish.
Scottish
I'm a big
is
fan
good.
of Russian. Alex can be like, no, seriously, he can do no wrong if he's in Scottish. Seriously.
but anyway, you'll never guess, John. My Arnold accent.
Dude,
I did an Arnold, and apparently that had some spice to it. I don't know.
so if I'm being a little bit truthful, I don't like Arnold anymore. He's now not one of my favorite people.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what he
yeah,
said.
yeah.
So I just
Come on, fuck your freedoms.
Fuck the freedoms.
Come on.
No, I'm taking them.
Why are you afraid of taking a shot? I took shots my whole career. How do you think I got to 7 Olympic titles?
Okay.
Come on.
So What do we think of wines?
Oh, that's nice. I'm not a wine guy, so I'm just gonna try to
Very fruity, for sure.
but it's very fruity.
Yeah, I really
Almost no tannins at all.
None.
Honestly.
extremely clean on your palate.
Ooh.
Doesn't sit
Okay.
around. Doesn't like have that burny sort of mouthfeel to it.
The pairing together, it is very nice. Very nice.
They do go very well, since the grape that I tasted in the cigar
Is brought up by the grapes in the wine.
Yeah.
Wow, you're such a super taster.
Very,
Super
very
texture.
It tastes very great.
So I want to hear from our distinguished guest. He's much more of a wine connoisseur than I am. So tell me your first impressions on the pairing.
Well, this is actually the first time I think I probably paired a wine and a cigar on purpose. I'm sure I've smoked and drank at the same time before, but I like what you did. I could see how if this was a more heavy tannin, more of a earthy flavor, it would contrast with the cherry berry flavors of the cigar. So
we're gonna
complement.
We're gonna move into the more heavier.
That's
But
going to be exciting.
as you're right, so I was hoping to kind of transition it. So as you're moving through those like really bright cherry notes and the super fruity stuff will kind of back off a little bit.
And I'm honestly not super familiar with the Sangiovese, but I would assume that these grapes are probably harvested very early.
Yes.
Because of the sweetness of it,
Mhm.
I don't think that these mature on the vine.
I do want to ask John, are any of our viewers smoking the Rocky Patel that we are?
I will ask. So people out there is
Cut myself.
They
How did I
probably
cut
heard me
myself?
say that, John, when I've
How did I cut
asked you to say
Like,
that.
has that ever happened to you?
But
Just cut
we're
yourself?
actually-
Oh, yeah.
we're actually
All the time.
I've got one right here. No clue where that came
All
from.
the time. I got 2 cuts. I don't understand.
You sound great to me.
It sounds great to me too.
So I don't know.
Let us know if it's coming in better now.
Anyway, all right. What's on the docket today, guys?
All right, the docket.
The docket.
The first thing I wanted to talk about is that piece of history we watched last night.
Oh, definitely. Let's please go there.
We have to summarize the UFC card. It was a pay-per-view, and it was rather historic because it featured what I would say the bookend of the greatest arc in mixed martial arts history as far as like the story behind the fight.
Okay.
You know, you look at the great stories of Daniel Cormier fighting Stipe, or Daniel Cormier fighting John Jones, or the Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo fight. I mean, all those fights had great stories, but none of them had something that really would have been more fitting of a Hollywood type motion picture. And it was 2 guys where they initially fought right when they entered the UFC, and they were like 20 years old. I mean, they were kids, and they were
These Ultimate Fighter guys.
Yeah, they weren't on the Ultimate Fighter. They were just new inductees into the company, and they were both shooting stars. Basically, they met early on, and it was a real crazy fight that one guy won decisively, and then they, as they matured, they ended up leaving the UFC. One of them went to Icon and Strikeforce and ONE FC and all these other companies, and then the other one went to fought in Pride, and they kind of orbited each other but never got really close enough to ever fight again. And they each won multiple titles in their respective organizations, and then one of them ends up winning the UFC belt after he comes back. And then when the other one comes to the UFC, he fights Anderson Silva, who is considered like the greatest of all time, and beats him. And then he gets like popped for a drug infraction, gets suspended, and basically drops off the radar. Well, 17 years later, they're rematching.
17 Wow.
Years later.
Right.
They've had entire careers of incredible success. Yeah. Not me? Okay. Incredible success.
Speaking to the mic. Like
Where-
this. Speaking to the mic.
They're talking about like, you know, we were kids then, and now it's like, what's crazy is they were both so hothead when they were the first time they fought, but now to see them as like composed men going about it, it was such a treat, and the fight was
Is it not-
unbelievable.
When you say that about like composed men, who would have thought fucking Nick Diaz of all people would be like a composed man?
Really?
Who would have thought that? Like he was like, I was like, wow. Okay.
The man who
you're not-
invented the Stockton slap.
Right. He's like, he's from
Yeah.
Stockton. He's always just like running his mouth and like just talking big game. And this time he was just like,
ain't no bitch.
yeah. And this time he's just like, all right,
He wasn't
cool.
a bitch last
You
night,
do.
but he definitely got hemmed up.
Yeah.
I told you, he did not want to be in that ring.
He was like popping. He was like
gave up before he entered the ring.
He was teeing off on Lawler's head though. Like Lawler's forehead. He looked like a sperm whale.
I don't have it anymore.
He didn't have it. His head speed wasn't as fast, and he had even less power than when he was young, and he would do that style. So, but apparently, he said he wants to keep fighting.
He's an idiot.
So
he's only like 150 years old, and like has the brain of someone that is dead.
Why would he do that? I don't know. But the whole night was outstanding with
the
these.
Best card I've seen in a long time.
Oh my goodness! I knew
the best fight.
It was great on paper, but then to watch it unfold, it was mind blowing. So we got to see, that historic fight that did not fail to deliver. It was amazing, and we saw fights where the momentum swings were so crazy, where we're like, I don't know how to score this, because the guys took turns dominating each other, and then we saw a fight where a dude got knocked out, like legit knocked out, and the ref didn't stop it. So the guy ended up waking up after he got hit again, because you don't just stay out forever. And he wakes up and like ends up not getting he survives the round barely. Jeez. But then like comes back and then beats the other guy, finishes him. Like this display where you're like, I can't believe I'm watching this. And there were several fights that featured that kind of stuff, and it was just insane.
What I found incredible was there were so many fights last night that like got so close to where you're like, this dude's done. He's done. And then like he would like get back up and like charge on and then like take control of it for at least a little bit. Yeah. But like be able to come back from how many times did we say, bro, it is so deep. So deep.
Yeah, no, that was insane.
Or they'd like be out on their feet. And then they come back and fight another couple rounds. I was shocked. That was incredible.
The fight that was the main event. That was another one that I got to talk about. So Brian Ortega was fighting Volkanovski for the featherweight belt.
Brian Ortega's poor face, dude. Oh.
5 rounds, and they just went at it. And Volkanovski was getting the upper hand in the striking a little bit every round. So he was outpointing him. But
he needs a fight of the night bonus just because his face is going to need that much.
Dude, that man was a good-looking man.
So
before was
I caught that.
So anyway, so they make it to the third round. He's losing on all the cards, but he's a submission ace. He catches Volkanovski in a choke and like almost puts him to sleep. Like we're watching him flounder around. It looks like he's seizing up, like he's going to cut. He manages to escape. Then he gets put in a triangle choke. Manages to escape, grounds out the round, and then goes on. And then we see it looks like Brian Ortega's finished. Like he looks out on his feet, he gets taken down, he's eating big shots, his hands are dropping, and then they stop the fight for the judges to the doctors to look at him, and they're asking him questions, and it looks like he doesn't even know what they're asking him. Like he's just saying stuff, hoping that that's what they want to hear.
Literally, they go like, "Do you know where you're at?" He's like, "I'm here."
Yeah,
like, he's not wrong though.
And they're like, okay, less, that on that way. And they'd be like, how many fingers am I holding up? And they'd be like, 1, you'd be like 4.
Brian Ortega's got his head scrambled so bad they had to bring in the Mexican interpreter. He speaks English, but they brought in the Mexican guy because he was talking Spanish to him, because I think he was either way too tossed to be able to speak normally, or he didn't want them to know how bad he was hurt, and so he wanted to go in.
Interesting.
But
yeah, it was.
He finished the fight.
It was a lot, dude. And then that 5th round, like who the fuck? Nobody would have guessed that he even made it out of the 3rd round.
Yeah,
he was toast in the 3rd round. Right? He comes back, gets like a couple. He got those like 2 good submission attempts in the 4th round, but was like dead.
Yeah,
and then that 5th round came back and was just like.
Pull the mic close to you because it's something you talk about.
And then the 5th round.
Turn it towards you.
That's the kind of event that's worth the pay-per-view money. You know what I mean? Like,
and then that 5th round, he like came back and just like took charge.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, too little, too late for sure. But
it was awesome.
Okay.
And then the highlight of the whole card, the most historic thing, was there were not 1 but 2 textbook 1980s style haymaker slow-mo punch shots that exited a mouthful of saliva, like spraying across the cage. And
Alex's inner 5-year-old is just like,
and you could tell the guy in the booth was like, this is gold right here. We can't let this go to waste. They were like, let's show this from every replay in super slow motion. And so it's like if you had a 4K 3D television, you're like watching this lug like spin coming right at the camera. You're like, ah! So gross. It was so gross.
Not only that, but I swear to God, Robbie Lawler knocked Nick Diaz into Joe Biden's thought process because he was like, they were like, so he literally was like, he's like, so like I'm in a purple ring and there's like a lady talking to me, but I don't know who that person that was talking to me when I was getting French toast last week.
He was talking about all the most random things.
What are you talking about? He's like, I don't know. There's just somebody that I need to owe money to. I haven't paid yet.
Yeah. It was so incoherent. And then they're asking at the end of the fight, because the end of the fight is he had his nose broken. He basically gave up orally. And he's like,
listen, son, I'm gonna
we're gonna finish this one way or the other.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God. I guess I'm sorry. I just wanted to speak properly there. But no, anyway, so Diaz's answer is like, well, you know, I was bleeding, making a mess everywhere. I didn't want to be rude. So I was gonna stop.
He's like, I knew I was leaking. I didn't want to make a mess everywhere. And I was just like, oh, dude, I felt bad for him. Like bad. I was just like, bruh,
I had no idea either of them were still fighting.
Dude,
that man, he's like very punch drunk.
Dude, Robbie Lawler's killing. He's still doing great.
Dude, he looks incredible.
He looks
He looks great.
He was in front of Nick the whole time, going like, okay,
and like aggressively going at him.
I mean, it was like,
not shirking off at all.
It was like, stop.
That's fantastic.
You're not
How old is Lawler now?
37, and well, he's 37, and Nick Diaz is like 39.
But his conditioning was amazing.
10,
His cardio was great. He had no problem like smoking 5 rounds and being like aggressive the whole time.
That's incredible conditioning for that age, for sure.
There was a couple times where he put the smack down on him. Like Nick did do some good body shots. His body shots were killer, and he did a couple good kicks. But other than that, I mean, he was getting lit up.
Right.
And he was just like he when he stopped, he was just like this. He knocked him down. He was like he's sitting there. And he looked at him. He goes like, "No, I'm just gonna take it. We can stop now."
Yeah.
And everyone's like looking at him like Rob was like, "Nah, get up, man, get up." And he was like, "Nah, I'm good.
Let's just stay here.
You just keep doing you."
I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, there was like there was that second round, right, where we were like, maybe Nick's got this, you know? I mean, he was teeing off on Lawler's head.
He was outlanding. He was out striking him a lot, but there was nothing on those shots.
He was like just picking off his forehead.
I have to tell you, for the last time, when I do my research and I look, what did I tell you? Did I not call that from the beginning? I said that he was not ready to come back. And
we all said that.
But I mean,
no.
Yes, we did.
Why was he not ready to come back?
Was kicking because his mindset's not there.
Literally, like his mind is not there.
Yeah.
He like 100%. He just needs to like stop fighting, like very much so.
He said in the last 3 interviews before they even started fighting, he said, I don't want to do this. But since my fans are all out there and they're all begging me to do it, I'm gonna do it, but I don't want to do it.
Like
sure it was
the kid, payday. Right? So like since he and his brother Nate, since they've been like kids, they grew up in Stockton, they just beat the shit out of each other like all the time. And I mean, you like cannot knock them out. Like you cannot. And they just keep coming back for more.
Hold on.
Well, I mean you can, but like
I get
but I mean they just like take it and take it and take it. And so it's like after like 20 plus years of getting your face smashed in on the reg, like you're gonna take some serious brain damage.
I've always loved Nate Diaz, and what's interesting to me about him, not interesting, I guess, but just kind of stuck out is that you can tell he loves to get hit. I mean, he enjoys.
That is such a Diaz trait. They're like, hit me.
No, but it wakes them up.
When Nick came out last night, we were just like, bro, did he just wake up? Like, what happened?
Donald Cerrone does the same exact thing. He's like, it takes a couple of them smacking the shit out of me a couple of times. And then I go like, oh yeah, I'm in a fight.
Yeah, but I mean, you can like see it. And Nick was just like, oh shit, what the fuck? And you could tell he was like maybe it just come back from like a nap.
He had this look on his face like, what do I do with these things again?
He's like,
and then he started his like, oh yeah, here we go.
That's what I do.
The crazy thing is his jujitsu is so good. I don't know why he did just take him to the ground.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because he's like so masterful. Like, why would you do that?
But I want to ask you, John, since we're nearing the end of the opening third, what are your thoughts on the pairing?
I gotta hand it to Lindsay. Like I would have, you know me, I'm a whiskey guy all day long. I would have totally put these together and I'm gonna do this. Like I don't even drink wine. This is good.
It's very good.
Like you killed it. Like you did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did a lot of research on this one.
It's good.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
What about the stick?
That's like saying, "Hey, man, do you think you're gonna need some air today?" You know,
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It is really good. It has that there. See, I have a soft spot for Rocky Patel. Like I really, really do. It's the first stick that I ever bought. I think it's definitely the first like good stick I ever bought for you when like you started smoking heavily.
Lindsay, just so you know, you lost your soft spot like the first year of your life. That goes away.
Yeah, it's like 6 months.
6 months.
Are you referring to the fontanelle?
All right. When you grow up to be an adult female, you have other soft spots.
Ooh, and if you play your cards right, John, you might get to see one of them.
Probably.
I have. They're all curtainy.
Oh my God.
There's a curtain there because it's trying to tell you there's a show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you want to make sure you want them backstage passes for that show.
Is that you, Boston?
Yes.
Is that you, Boston?
I don't know.
We're not a fan of that one. That one's much more like.
What are you talking about? Give me, come on. Give it the time of your life. In the car.
Get in the car.
I'm sorry.
Are we thinking like? Okay, so whose Boston accent are you doing? Like Matt Damon, because his is obnoxious.
You know,
His makes me want to like punch
Boston.
people.
That's
I know.
like his original accent.
I know, but it's still
fake.
irritating.
Ben Affleck's the same way. I agree.
It's still irritating.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, you're obnoxious.
Have you guys ever been to Rhode Island?
No.
I'm
sure John has, because John grew up in
that's
Delaware.
Right. True. So for my 40th, went on a whole New England excursion over a 7-day period. I wanted to go to every town that was the town name was Essex that I possibly could, so I could do the whole
That's cool.
thing. That was part of the trip. Ended up in Providence, Rhode Island, the night of my birthday, and there's this. We're at this bar at the bottom of it's called the Dean was the name of the hotel, and you know you have little welcome packets on your bed. There were chocolates, and there was like a hand towel, and there was a box of condoms. That was the welcome gift to everyone at the hotel.
They were like, don't want anybody to get knocked up in my town.
It was a Providence thing, apparently.
Hey,
I'm not sure.
That's just responsible health.
I mean, honestly, like
the accent there is so incredibly thick. I mean, even worse than Boston, in my opinion. We go to the bar downstairs, hanging out at the bar, and the bartender walks over. He said, "Are you from Louisiana?" And I'm like, "How in the world did you nail that to Louisiana?"
You don't even have like a very thick accent.
I don't think I do either. Dude was from Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I
He had been in Providence 25 years, so I go 1,500 miles away, and I spend my birthday with a dude from Baton Rouge.
I don't know. Same, no same.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Well,
Dude, but listen, as somebody who's from up north, I'd have to say that New Orleans accent kind of sounds like a little northern accent. I mean, it's
I
got
agree.
like the walk and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
It's like a kind of a Jersey accent almost. So.
It does have
Equally
its
trashy.
own tint.
I would like to put my thoughts in on the stick itself, since we're nearing the first third, and I haven't really talked much about that. We've talked about the pairing, and I've never had this wine before, but it is amazing. The lack of tannins makes it so crisp on the palate.
You
where
don't typically like a sweet bread either.
They work
I don't.
fantastically together. But as far as the cigar itself, it's real composed, and the sweetness is not as aggressive as like the ALR sweetness. It's this real subtle fruity note that goes all the way through to the aftertaste, but the polished nature of it reminds me of a Black Label cigar, and it's quite nice.
God, can we talk about a Black Label for a minute? Honestly, like Black Label, it's I am like a sucker for like a boutique brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black Label, they are killing it as a boutique brand, like amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible little company. They have all of their social media is like exceptional. Very authentic social media, which I've always really been a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I like companies that care enough to interact with their people.
So James Brown, if you're
It
watching,
does.
interact with us. We love your stuff.
James Brown, I like you so much. You're so cute, and I love your shoes. Anyway, he like has a great shoe game, and he like posts them with his cigars. It's great. But the new they have a new one out, the Viaticum. It's really, really good.
The Viaticum is amazing,
exceptional
and we will feature that on the show. we will do it. Hopefully,
they're just a cool little company.
It sounds like a Catholic religion.
The first time we talked about black labels when we had Ethan Matthews on the show, and he kind of got me. He turned me on to the idea of this boutique brand, and he just turned John on. And
John likes
so we've started really trying everything that they've offered. The royalty, the salvation, the bishop's blend,
your mic is out?
Last rites.
They're saying it's not up.
Do you want?
It's just
this one?
everything is phenomenal, and so the Viaticum is the latest release of theirs. It's a limited release. In I had one to sample. It was amazing, and then we went and bought a box of them. So we will do that. And now Mick is eating some chocolates.
It seems like it should go.
They are honestly okay. So these are like my new favorite little like thing. They are double chocolate cookie bites made by Theo, and they're organic, and the chocolate is like not sweetened. And
so if you want to sponsor the show, the thing is GNS.
Right. I gotta say the wine pairing, it makes the cigar better. Like it really does work well with it.
That's the purpose.
I don't have anything to go on, but I can't imagine it.
Honestly, that's the purpose of pairings. Is to each of them on their own, they're great, but you put them together and it.
You know how that pairing got started?
No.
Boobs.
Naturally.
Because one is great, but then you hate two of them, and you're like,
even better.
Even better.
And then you watch Total Recall, and then your mind is like,
oh my god, he's such a fucking nerd. I can't deal with it.
So a question.
Someone save me.
The two of you guys, and you're the bourbon guy.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so
he also likes white Russians.
Dude, I'd imagine.
And black Russians.
Delicious.
Thanks. I was about to say, it doesn't matter. I like them all.
So you've never had this cigar?
He just likes Russians a lot.
No,
you have not. Okay, so in your opinion,
okay,
would a bourbon enhance or diminish this cigar? In your opinion,
enhance.
So I'm just going to turn it
Go ahead.
right here. So if I'm being 100% honest, you know what would go great with this? Any bullet. You know what else would go with
I
this?
don't like bullet rye though.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that. But for this, any bullet, that stuff we had, the rabbit hole.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That rabbit hole. So the rabbit hole that you got, was that the? It was the like maroon label, like the dark red one. Was that the smoked rabbit hole that you had gotten, or what was that?
No.
I can't remember which one it was.
Mick, do you want me to blow your mind about what you just asked?
please.
Since John gave you his
That
answer.
felt like a great question.
Okay, so the pairing, the thing that makes this cigar pair so well with the wine are those fruity notes. But what the whiskey pairs with obviously are not going to be those fruit notes so much, but it's going to be the fact that when you make bourbon, you age them in charred oak barrels.
Yep.
So the charring of the oak pairs with the charring of the tobacco as you burn it. And so you get a lot of the connection with your pairs on that side of the flavor note profile. And so your
I feel like you're hype, man. I'm like, yep. Got you. You're right.
So one thing that's a little bit different with these. Oh my god!
I got fucking Gata over here,
dude. Oh my god. Oh, we're like super. Speaking of Gata, we're like super far behind in Dave.
Yeah.
Because season 2 just went like
it got so
out
weird.
The box.
I'm gonna have to borrow.
I mean, I love Gata so much.
I gotta catch up.
Okay, so one thing that's a little bit different about what he was saying was that whiskey is typically aged in oak barrels. Sometimes they like smoke the barrels, sometimes whatever. But that adds a lot of depth to the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
You're still getting some of those like cherry, sort of that mashed kind of fruit backness, but you're getting an overwhelming sort of oak and that stuff. These wine pairings are minimal oak. All of them. We're going to end on a Cabernet Sauvignon, and those not oaky at all.
And that's the reason I asked the question, because
right.
my
Hold them
assumption.
up, gentlemen. Hold them up. No, all of them.
Oh, sorry.
What are we doing?
I think we're ready for round 2.
Okay,
Yes.
We are in the second third.
You better finish your glass then.
So the reason I asked the question is that it was my assumption that if we were drinking a bourbon right now, this cigar would taste completely different.
It
Would that
does.
be fair?
Yes.
It does. I very rarely smoke cigars with wine. I don't know why. I have a hard time smoking. Oh, you poured the wrong one.
Why'd you line them up like that?
I didn't. I lined them up starting 1, 2, 3.
Is this the
Okay.
Okay, so Alex poured himself the third one. What the fuck? Jesus.
What?
Don't do that.
They'll be in there.
Just don't do that. Okay,
So you
so
wanna tell us about that?
so we're starting. Our second pairing is Rioja, which is also a Spanish wine. So I wanted to stay in that sort of Spanish region where you're not getting a lot of tannins. The Sangiovese, it is sweet, but much drier than Sangiovese. Just chug it. There you go. I was like, don't waste it.
I have a serious question. So
Yes.
So a drier wine instead of a fruitier wine brings out what?
Okay, so you're going like more like what we're drinking right now, the Rioja. It is still very fruity. Okay, but it's just drier. So it's less sweet. You're not going to have that like sort of cloying sweetness, because like with the Sangiovese, I was great after one glass, but like more than that, and it starts getting too much. You know, like Mick was saying, he doesn't like sweet wines. I'm not really a big fan of sweet wines either, and that's why, because like I can't really drink a whole lot of them before they start to like just overwhelm my palate. So the Rioja is still,
Oh, I get it.
still fruity, right, but drier, and while the Sangiovese had a lot of like cherry and like fresh cherry and plum and stuff like that, this is more of like a jammy fruit, right? Like it's cooked down a little bit. It's a little bit headier, a little bit heavier,
A little bit blowier.
right? But still like cherry prominent. Okay, so you're still kind of staying with those stone fruits, but still cherry prominent.
So here's where I'm going with this. So what would be? Could you? This is hypothetical. Could you
Yes.
make a champagne / mixture with this, and then have that added to? You know, like a really
mixture?
dry, like a dry champagne with a dry wine, and
Like mix them together.
does that work? Does people do
you
that?
don't really make wine cocktails. You don't really like mix them together in the same glass.
I get that. I understand that.
Like Mick and I were talking about earlier. I've been really into sparkling Pinot Noirs lately. They are like,
yeah, that's what it is, right?
Yeah,
This
but
is
I
a
mean,
Tempranillo
it doesn't taste just like.
I'm not a wine guy. I'm sorry.
It really doesn't. It's not like when I first tried it. Right, I had a idea in my head. I was like, okay. Pinot is really, really stone fruit heavy, very, very cherry, very, very fruity, but dry. Okay. So I'm thinking that, just like carbonated, the flavor profile is totally different. Still like very fruity, but like super light. It's just incredible. So I'm going to bring one of those, and those have been exceptional. But like, as far as like carbonating something like this or like mixing champagne, I wouldn't do that.
Now, this makes perfect sense for a second wine. They're also aged in oak barrels.
So Mick,
but
give
it's
us
a bit longer.
Right.
give us some contrast with this round versus the last round with the pairing.
Well, can I ask a question first?
Yes.
So, and this is a cigar question. So we're in the second third of the cigar. What is the difference between the first, second, and third levels? Or
Okay, well that's a good question. So,
like, what should I expect in the second, third? How about that?
okay, when you
Great question.
When you smoke a cigar, the reason why we break it up into thirds is because there is a transition, especially within really high level cigars, of how the flavors progress as you smoke it. And this is because when you first light the cigar, that taste is going to be because you were actively burning the end with this torch. And so almost all cigars taste very similar right when you light them, regardless of what kind of cigar it is, because this is the ignition flavor. And then you get about a half inch into it, and then you start tasting more of the real flavor of cigar.
Right.
But the thing is that the best way I can describe it is that the flavor notes that you start tasting in the first third, it's like a symphony going through tune-up.
Mhm.
So you hear all the instruments, but they're not quite playing in synchrony perfectly, but they're still masterfully played. And so they sound really good, but there's an immatureness to the flavor that changes. When you get to the middle third, we call that the business section, because that's where the flavors are at their highest.
Yep.
And they are they typically, what you'll taste is a refinement of the first third's flavors, and they'll be more robust. There's a richness to them. You're like, I'm tasting what I was tasting, but I'm tasting more of it. And so it's stronger. And when that happens, sometimes you'll have flavor notes that you weren't tasting in the first third become apparent.
Yep.
And so you're like, I'm tasting the hazelnut. I didn't taste that before.
Yeah.
And then you'll have this transition where when you get to the final third, that's typically where you're getting an accumulation of tar in the mouth of the cap of the cigar. And so you're going to start tasting more of that more charred flavor of it. And that's going to almost have like this twilight year effect where it's not as robust, but there's this different character to the flavors, and it's also really nice. And that's kind of the final third, and it lets you know we're winding down over here. And then if the cigar starts to turn, that means the flavor notes will be trending towards acrid and a bit more sour almost.
And that's the accumulation of the tar.
And that's where it's telling you, I'm done. When that flavor changes, it's not worth it. Now, when you're smoking a world-class cigar, they don't do that.
Yeah.
And so you'll get to that final third, and you're just like, I'm risking it. And you'll just hold it until it burns your fingers or your lips or your tongue, because it's just not stopping.
Well, I think also not having that cigar not turn. So what I find exceptionally interesting about cigars, right? Like, there is such an art to like developing a cigar. Like people don't, I don't think people like really truly understand that. Like if you're not like really into like the meta of cigars, right? Like you don't really understand like just how much goes into curating your cigar, right? Like the people that are developing these things are not just like throwing a bunch of shake at the floor into these cigars. They're like, okay, no. These are the flavor profiles that we want to incorporate. But not only do we have to figure out how they're going to go together, but how they're going to burn and how they're going to taste as you move through those thirds. And so like there's a proper way to smoke cigars. And a lot of people like just suck them down and they're like going through them like super fast. But there's like a consistency and a timeliness to how fast you're smoking them. And as you get farther into your cigar, you have to slow that down so that you don't overheat. Because once you like overheat it, then for me, it turns almost instantly. Like if I'm towards my middle of my final third, if I'm like over smoking it and going too fast or too hot, it's done.
And Rocky Patel is known for being a cigar that can be over smoked relatively easily. So if you smoke it too fast, too aggressively, it'll turn on you faster. And you're like, oh, it's a bit accuracy. You gotta let it cool off. And go
so
if this cigar were Nick Diaz, it's ready to punch back.
Right. Well, you tell me, you're fully in your middle third. I'm really appreciating the intensity, the vibrancy of the flavor notes. Are you picking up any like maturation of what you were tasting earlier?
I don't know if it's the chocolate little things that I'm eating or not, but it has more of a I'm feeling more cocoa or something. It's a deeper flavor of some sort.
It is. It's everything kind of
also
coming
could be
together.
part of the wine too. I mean, like I was saying, this is aged much longer in oak barrels. It's a Tempranillo grape, which based on the climate. And this bottle is really cool because it gives the actual latitude and longitude of the vineyard. That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Campo Viejo is, I don't know if you've had their.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love them.
I'm
really like them. And
I've never had this one. This is a 2013 Reserve.
Yeah, the Grand Reserve lines, they have the Rioja, and then they also have a not a Tempranillo. What is it? I can't remember. I'll think of it.
I'm going to give you a flavor note. I'm going to blow your mind. First, take a pull and retrohale it, and I'm going to tell you what you're tasting. Slightly burnt blueberry muffin.
Oh shit!
I almost spit that out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that
Alex
was
is
that was
did not
right.
expect that.
That was
Okay,
you're right.
honestly,
You're on the money.
Slightly burnt.
Okay, so we were talking about there's this
Holy shit!
Isn't
That's
that awesome?
good. That was good.
It's really good.
there's two camps in cigar smoking, right? The camp of the people that
Damn.
just smoke cigars because they smoke cigars and they're like, thank you so much. Just smoke cigars for smoking cigars. And then and they, you know, they like some cigars, they don't.
Yeah.
And then there's connoisseurs, right? That are like, let me break this down and figure out like what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think you've known Alex and I long enough to know that when we go into something, we become connoisseurs like very quickly of those
It
things.
makes it more fun.
Absolutely. I love going down and the things that I'm interested in, I love going down the rabbit hole and like, let's learn all about this.
That's why that whiskey would be perfect.
Well, and that's
The whiskey
why
would be great.
I
We
was stoked
actually
to do
do
the
have a
show
single barrel here.
because I am as into wine as you guys are in the cigars, but it's because I've come to appreciate them.
Yeah.
I've actually spent time with a sommelier from Italy that explained to me how wine is produced, how it's bottled, why it's done the way it's done, why things taste different. We were talking about tannins earlier. That's how long the stems and the seeds and the leaves stay in the barrel. The longer they stay, the more bitter and dry the wine is going to be.
Right.
And it's going to change the flavor notes just like the cigar will based on how it's rolled
It's
and
like
so on.
one of my best friends.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but this is a great question. I'm sorry. This is
I forgot we had commentary.
Question. So Garrett says, do you find a difference in taste from lighting with matches versus a torch?
Okay, that is a good question. There's a lot of snobbery with your ignition preference because there's
That's the most boozy shit you said since I walked in the door. Your ignition preference?
My ignition preference. Sorry, you've met him.
All right, let me just qualify what I said.
He goes like out of his way. He goes out of his way to make it the most complicated.
So delicious of a phrase.
So like
it's fripperous, ladies and
it is
gentlemen.
so fripperous. I have an auditory processing disorder, so like there's often times where I have to tell him like, "Hey, could you stop?" Like
I love it. I don't know why you hate it. I love
No.
I think it's fantastic.
It's awesome.
I don't hate it. Okay, I don't. Actually, I love it because I mean, I also have a large vocabulary and I like using it. But when we're communicating, what fripperous or ignition preference?
No,
it feels like an industry term.
No,
he's just every bit of SAT.
When you're like, you think about it, you're like, that's on. That's
fantastic.
That's it. No, look, let me just say, guys,
we were on vacation. I'm sorry, I gotta cut you off.
Oh,
so we're on vacation, right? And he's like, we're talking about this journey of climbing this mountain. Like you could have been like, oh, it's a great journey up the mountain. You go blah blah. He's like, no, we're on a trek. I'm like, who says shit like that? Like, what are you reading The Hobbit? Like, what the fuck?
We're going on a breakfast trek. Those are my favorite kind of treks.
The best part is they act like I've planned any of that. I'm like, no, y'all don't realize just how nerdy I am. That's just how I talk.
I should be used to it by now.
But
for sure.
But really, for this show, I'm totally hammered. So I make no warranty about anything.
Like a whole glass.
When it gets like this, the journey gets bright. Like,
God,
it's like a huge stroke.
Okay,
I love it. Like, it makes me like he articulates the minutia of everything. You're just like, that's exactly how I would have said it if I was smart.
Scholar, gentleman.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's why we work. But speaking of words, I do have to say, our one of our side gigs that we do is we write review articles for the Not Gentlemanly Cigar Smokers magazine.
Yep.
And for my last write-up, I did a review of the Padron 1964 Family Reserve 50 year, which is one of those like crown jewel cigars, top of the mountain. Doesn't get much better than that. And for the write-up, we decided we were going to take like high quality modeled photographs. And so Lindsay took the pictures. I wrote the words.
I don't know about high quality. They were iPhone quality.
Dude, they look great.
4K.
They look great.
I know a photographer.
They were
He's
iPhone
really good. I'm just saying.
I don't want to get my tits out in front of you, John.
Ew, as if. Like, you can cover it up.
Speaking of her tits, just tell that fan of the show, yes, they're quite a pair.
That's you, John Costello. That's actually you, the person who said it. I told him.
Because if you haven't figured out John can't keep a secret,
I'm 1,000% not offended.
You just don't
not
know.
Offended. In fact,
you just don't know John.
So we have to answer Garrett's question.
But
match.
Okay, so it can. The thing about
don't use a cigarette lighter like a pleb.
We're gonna get you asked a question, so I have to answer it completely. So it's gonna get very nerdy. All right, so you have to look at each ignition style. So they're going to go butane cigarette lighter, we're going to go match, and we're going to go butane torch. So Using a butane cigarette lighter has a lower combustion rate, and so you're gonna have more impurities from the combustion of carbon monoxide and unprocessed butane. So there's going to be some slight flavor adulteration with the cigar. And so that's one of the reasons why if you read the old articles on how to light a cigar, there's actually no pulling. You just have the convection heat of the cigar. You don't even let the flame touch it. You put it in the convection current of the lighting source and you wait for it to start to smolder. And then eventually you ignite it by pulling on it. But you never actually draw the ignition source into the cigar because of the adulterating quality of it. And so with a lot of purists will use cedar strips because cedar is such a fragrant aromatic wood that there's not considered to be an adulterating effect from the smoke. And so you can actually light your cigar from a cedar strip. Which is cool. If you have like an hour and a half to light your goddamn
honestly,
cigar.
it takes 100
I love it, but like, I'm sorry, I want to smoke this and not build a fire because this is ridiculous.
It legitimately takes.
But like, use
10 minutes.
Back up. If you're buying a $150 cigar, you would want to do it that way because it's an experience. Sure. It is a trek. You know what I mean? Like you're literally on it for the journey. So come on. Like, let's be honest.
What if you can't find a lighter at all and you have to use like your toaster? Does that
Get the fuck.
don't act like you've never lit anything.
Okay. Gas oven grill.
Come on.
When I was like 17, I would smoke cigarettes and I would light them. Like if you couldn't find a lighter, you'd use like your stove.
Yeah.
Right. Look, I used a toaster, like literally a toaster one time.
Toaster.
Like you'd like push it down and then stick it in there.
Like 3 seconds.
To answer Gary's question, I will get him an answer.
So say that again. Say that again for the audience.
I lit a cigarette with a toaster.
No. What you said. The last thing you said. The last thing you said was
I can't remember what I
and
said.
then you stuck it what?
And then I would just stick it in the little thing. I don't know. I can't remember what I said. I'm like, what did I say? What's the double entendre that I
John is 5
said?
years old. All right.
What did I say?
5.5.
I took my cigarette and I stuck it in the little. I stuck it in the
But
little.
really, to answer the question, if you're going to use a match to light your cigar, when you light the match, let the accelerant burn off before you put your cigar over it. Okay.
Yes, that would make
Wait
sense.
until just the wood is burning before you put your cigar in there because you don't want any of those sulfur compounds making its way into the tobacco. Because if you're spending premium money on a cigar, you don't want to taste anything but the cigar.
And that would stay in for the whole cigar, wouldn't it?
It could mess it up.
It would. And, But I mean, oh man.
That's a good question.
I mean, if you're smoking a factory smoke, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
This microphone is crazy good.
I'm kind of the mind that like if I don't know, I wouldn't use something like my toaster. Like if that was all I had, I just wouldn't smoke a cigar that night.
Johnny, you all right over there?
No, the wave keeps coming at me and I need to stop.
The wave?
Super dumb.
The wave.
The wave of red
I know
wine.
what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about.
The wave of red wine.
This is the rave. The wave.
It's very wavy. All right. So what are we thinking about this Rioja? How does so it's you get that it's like heavier, right?
Yeah.
It's a much heavier, drier.
It's even thicker.
Yeah,
than the
it
first
is.
one was.
It is. No, a Sangiovese, it's honestly like, so this this is almost not far from what a Sangiovese looks like. It's like.
That's why I'm pretty sure that's a much younger grape.
It is. It's a very immature grape.
It's with these glasses. By the way, we need to give some props to the glass selection that we have for our special wines today.
These hand-blown wine glasses. These hand-blown.
Just lobbing them left and right.
He's lobbing them up.
Hand-blown.
Call me Spencer. Hand-blown. I'm sorry. It was all the grocery store and the oil center had, okay? There's nothing open in the oil center on a Sunday.
This is
yes,
in the center.
100 million%. This is the truth. I'm not a wine guy, but the first one, way fruity. I get that. This one, I could roll on this.
Fantastic.
Dude, I love a Spanish red, an Argentinian red. Those Central American and Spanish reds, very similar. I love those. Like
so good.
I go for those and like a Meritage or a Beaujolais like every time.
I just have to I've never been to South America, but I'm feeling like that the climate
Go to Chile.
there is what has a lot to do with
God,
it,
Chilean
you know?
reds,
Dude, oh my
excellent.
God.
Oh,
Like I've had
so great.
Chilean reds,
Dude.
Argentinian reds,
Yeah.
incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love those. I mean, they are like consistently, it doesn't matter how much you're spending on the bottle. I think like the Grand Reserve of the Campo Viejo, the regular bottles are 9 to 11.
Yep.
But the Grand Reserves are more like 18 to 22. And so, but I mean, I think it's worth it. I like the depth that extra aging gives it.
I agree.
Extra age gives you a lot more extra depth, John.
So
Fucking
John,
around with a young one, you don't get a whole lot of depth.
John,
When you get that older one, though,
Oh, speaking.
deep.
Hold on.
it's got
Actually,
deep,
speaking
deep
of depth,
flavors.
Off air, I want to talk to you.
oh, thanks. That's
Wow.
No,
Okay.
guys.
Speaking of
I'm
depth,
fucking with you,
No,
dude.
no. Remember last Halloween?
Yeah, I remember last time.
depth. Wait a second, depth. Okay. Hey,
Last Halloween.
tell us about your tattoo. I like talking about all of our
Where'd you
recent.
get your ink?
Oh, okay.
All of our recent guests have had cool tattoos, and I like hearing about why people get what they get. And you actually have very similar to what Eli has.
So you don't like my Pearl Jam tattoo? What's wrong?
All right, you know what? Next episode, we're gonna feature your Shining tattoo and your Pearl Jam tattoo
have
that
a
you
Pearl
got
Jam
when you were
Oh,
what,
dude,
18?
Such an idiot. I was a kid.
Yeah. We're not gonna feature any like 18-year-old tattoos because I still have one that I got in a kitchen. Okay? Kitchen.
I did that to myself.
As a matter of fact,
I got
this
it
is
on the back
only,
of my neck in a kitchen.
wait, you got that in a
A
kitchen?
kitchen. Yes, I was not smart.
This is
Oh
the
my
only
God,
tattoo
I
I have that I
didn't
got
know
in a
that.
tattoo shop.
What?
Everything else was done in the kitchen, in the living room, in a car, actually.
Car.
Why were we so dumb?
How do I
Like,
not have
seriously?
some bloodborne disease at this
Right?
point?
I'm like,
don't
I should
know.
surely have hepatitis. Like for
At
sure.
least a little something,
For sure.
you would think. So
Wow.
there's actually a very cool story in a couple of different ways. So I wanted to do something that was representative of mine and my son's journey through life, just
Yeah.
the two of us. And I had the idea of the koi because in Japanese mythology, the koi fish, they swim upstream to spawn. Most of them don't make it. And in the stories of old, that was symbolism of going through life. You're
Right.
swimming upstream
Yeah,
the whole
smart.
time.
Right.
Most of you aren't going to get where you want to go, but sometimes you will. So that was the thought process. So I started looking for artists that specialized in Japanese tattoos. It's very detailed. It's quite ornate. So I knew it was going to cost a lot, and I wanted to get the right guy. So find the guy. I actually had a consultation.
Where
with
did
the
you go?
guy. It was in Shreveport. He was actually in
Nice.
Shreveport. I had to have a consult because he chose who he wanted to tattoo and who he didn't. I go in talking to the guy, and he looks very familiar.
Dude, there's a lot of tattoo artists that do that. They're like, I don't want, like, they put so much of themselves into their art that they're like,
Yeah.
I don't want just anybody
Oh,
having
what-
it.
Dude,
What
I
I ended up
interviewed my
with-
guy for
I'm
my
not,
piece.
but they're like, I'm not tattooing like live, love, laugh on
No.
someone
And
because they're like,
that's-
I'm not even signing my name on that. Goodbye.
That's why he wanted to do that, because it's a permanent marking, and
Right.
he lives and dies by his reputation. So what actually turned out was nothing of what I thought it was going to be, other than there's fish on it. That was
Right.
really all that's still there. So we talk. Come to find out, the guy and I used to bartend together 20 years before. Hadn't seen each other in
And you're
forever,
like, oh,
and I
buddy.
know the guy. So he starts doing that. He draws up the whole thing, and he started adding all of these flowers in there, which looks startlingly like weed plants, but they're actually maple leaves. And I'm like, I don't want any flowers in my tattoo. He was like, koi spawn in the fall in Japan, and you either have the leaves, or I'm not doing your tattoo. And I'm like,
okay. Well, I guess.
I guess we're doing this.
Guess
And it
we're
ended
having
up being a
flowers.
whole sleeve, and
Guess
he
we're
did
having
it
flowers.
exactly like he wanted. So it's very special. It was very expensive.
That's
But
interesting.
did he capture what you were looking for?
Everything. In fact, I'm actually going to be starting soon on the rest of the tattoo, because as the story goes, whenever the koi make it to the top of the waterfall, they turn into a golden dragon.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So-
nice.
That's going to be the next phase, is that the golden dragon tail will start here, go across my whole back, and then come down this arm.
Wow. That's
Wow.
awesome.
So,
I love hearing about
and it's the whole story. you know?
why people, because like I've never seen a person, right, that has like a full sleeve or like a huge
Lindsay, you've seen
tattoo.
so many people.
I've seen so many people. I never seen a person. I've seen so many people that have their. God damn it, John. Anyway, I've never seen a person that has a full sleeve, right? That just was just I just went in and did this. I was drunk. Right? Yeah. So when people have big tattoos, I'm like, tell me the story behind it. Because there's always something good.
And I have dumb shit too. I have a Dave Matthews inspired tattoo to impress a girl.
God damn, why is it that I have good friends with fucking stupid cheesy ass band tattoos?
What? Seriously.
God damn.
I was trying to impress a girl.
But hey.
John,
I was trying to impress myself.
Do I need to go get a Hanson tattoo to fit in with you guys?
What the fuck?
Okay, 1,000%.
Dude, let me tell you something. Eddie Vedder, Hanson brothers. Get the fuck out. What's wrong with you?
Okay, sixth grade me though.
Willie Nelson
if you got a mock tattoo.
Dude, him or his son. His son's amazing.
Very good.
He's amazing.
All right.
Willie Nelson tattoo? Would you go there?
If he got
no, come on. He's more like, I'm a fire starter.
No, oh my god.
Oh my god, that song was on the other day. I was just like, yeah, I was rocking this song.
Oh my god.
Let's be fair.
Oh my god. So John,
I was very young.
John, I gotta tell you, I don't know how much you read books, but I read a book recently. I got to tell you about it. It was awesome.
Oh my god!
This
is a setup to a joke.
Was it a pop-up?
No, dude.
It was.
It was a suspense thriller written about a '90s political storyline featuring an assassin who moonlighted as an EDM DJ for rave parties.
Is this real?
Is this real? Are you serious?
It was written by Dave Kuntz.
Oh my god! See, such fucking setup to the worst.
Why do we
joke.
hang out with him?
You see what I had to deal with?
God, John, mute his mic.
There's amazing
honestly.
jokes, and then there's that.
Mute his mic. Can you just mute his mic? Can you do that? Can you just turn his mic off?
I don't guess I'm drunk enough to really.
You're not. Pour more. We are not. We're not nearly drunk enough.
So bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
We do this every week with him. We're like, Jesus, that's painful.
I didn't realize you could get trauma from humor, but
you can. You can. I've had 16 years of continuous dad joke trauma.
It's like a wave. It's hitting me again.
I keep hearing
it's so good.
It's so stupid, but
it's so stupid, but it works.
That's why we hang out with him.
It doesn't even work, dude.
Dude, come on, Lindsay. That works. If you let it sink in for a second, and then it takes a little bit, then all of a sudden it's the good wave. You're like, oh my god, that's like
John.
Really good.
That's how John likes to take it.
Hey,
he likes to
that
take
worked,
it
right? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Give some love over
I'm
here.
gonna get you for Christmas now.
Didn't a shitty joke book?
Every
He's
single
already
Dave
got
Kuntz book that exists.
All just the version. Just a zip drive.
Boom.
Here you go, buddy. It's all the Dave Kuntz books.
You know, his brother's also a writer.
Oh,
he writes erotica. His name's Mike Kuntz.
Oh my god! Turn his fucking mic off. We can't do this anymore. We're gonna get canceled. All right, so we are.
It's the internet.
I know, by everybody because it's the internet.
True, that's fair.
That's super true. Okay, so we are ending our second third. I am. Alex is. John is. Mick is. Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
we're all
ending
there.
our second third. So where are we here now?
Yep. You're actually you're pulling too hard.
Yeah, I know. I have a tendency to suck on it too hard.
I suck on it a little too hard. You're right in my alley, buddy.
So getting back to your earlier thing where we were talking about with the over smoking of them, as you are into it, you're looking at between 30 and 45 seconds per pull.
Yeah.
As you're moving towards the end, you're more 45 to a minute.
At the lower end.
Yeah. So
Okay.
as you're nearing your final third, you're lengthening the time between your pulls. To more 45.
So we're entering the final third.
We're entering the final third, which
What
means
should I
that we are just a much. That fruitiness is going to it's going to stay, but it's going to get deeper and deeper.
That's what she said.
Deeper.
Hey, before we get deeper and deeper and deeper, seriously, can we Spence come in here and say what the cigar merchant has on? Because
Yeah,
walking
Spence,
over
what you got,
there,
buddy?
oh my god, the deals that are coming in. Spence, get over here, man.
Spence, come give us the
Tell us what's up. Here,
come give
I'm
us
gonna
the
get out of there.
elevator pitch of Cigar Merchant for the
Get
week.
in here, buddy.
What you got for us today?
Drop in, Spence.
Okay.
Drop in, Spence. Welcome
So-
back, Spencer.
How y'all doing?
So cute.
Backed by popular demand.
He's so cute. He's our little cigar guy. He's one of my favorite cigar guys.
With the cigar merchant right now, this whole plethora of amazingness over here.
That nobody can see what you're pointing at.
Or hear what you
It's
think.
okay. I'll
He's pointing at a
So
lot of
I
stuff.
think John's pointing at the sampler packs.
He is. He's pointing at the sampler packs.
So right now it's Cigar Merchant.
There's a lot of good ones.
If you're trying to investigate, different brands, whether it be Rocky Patel, my father, Alec Bradley, Gurkha, and a few others, you can. A good way to start is with the sampler pack. I got three different Rocky Patel packs featuring a bunch of the different cigars. I got a Honduran, Nicaraguan, and their All-Star pack.
Do the All-Star pack?
Oh, the All-Star pack's the best one.
All-Star pack,
Legit.
honestly, is
Tell us
really
what's in
good.
the All-Star pack, because I'm going to get one.
Okay, so in the All-Star pack, you got the Rocky Patel 50th, which
The
is a great
worst.
smoke. You got the 55th, which is phenomenal. I don't know how Rocky could be that good, but it's really good. You also, I forgot
The New World Maduro.
you got the New World Maduro. To be honest, wasn't impressed, but I need to smoke it again. Just I don't want to like cast judgment without smoking it twice.
I aged mine for a few months, and it was choice.
Well, I guess that works. And
His aging collection.
So this is a 50th,
So bougie.
50th anniversary cigar? 'Cause
55th.
It's not 55-year-old cigar.
Oh no.
Okay.
Of the company.
Well, there are, but we don't have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at that point, I don't know how that tastes because
Exactly. That's
it's
what
like-
I was wondering.
Yeah. No, it's just I know Rocky Patel. They commemorate different dates with different years and all that.
Okay.
Rocky Patel, actually, fun fact, has some of the largest portfolio of facings or lines of any brand. I think.
They really do. They have a
Yeah.
ton. And like
Mm.
top tier to super budget.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
all of them.
No, Rocky Patel's a huge portfolio. A lot of good stuff. And just another fun fact too. I don't know if you'll ever had the vintages before.
Yes.
So most of the vintages, the Connecticut, the Cameroon, the Sumatra, the broadleaf, they all have the same binder and filler.
Interesting.
It's mostly a Honduran and a little bit of Nicaraguan binder and filler. And the vintage line just shows you how much a wrapper can affect the cigar. 'Cause
Absolutely.
You got the Vintage 99, which is a Connecticut, and it's a pretty mild smoke, very creamy. But then you got the
The
vintage.
San Andreas and the Cameroon.
Well, the San
very
Andreas is
different.
the exception. That one has a different blend in it.
Okay.
But the broadleaf or the Sumatra, Sumatra's the 90. That one packs a punch.
So all of the vintages we got like one of the vintage samplers, right? It was like we got like 5 of each.
Mhm.
And that was one of the first times that I was really able to be like, okay, this is a San Andreas wrapper.
Mhm.
Right? Like, and this was like specifically a San Andreas wrapper. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was a really easy way to like test. Because I mean, they're essentially the same stick, just different wrapper. So you're like,
exactly. So basically,
is how they change it.
you don't have to worry about variation in the binder and filler. So you can really learn just the wrapper. If you're trying to develop your taste as an aficionado, it takes practice. Because it takes repeated experiences, so you can use those experiences as reference points, and then kind of be able to tell the difference.
mhm.
Kind of like whenever you're looking and trying to do depth perception, you have to use one object in front of you to compare it at a distance to another object, and that's so you can kind of tell distance. Well, I'll say it's a similar thing with a flavor. And so whenever you taste the broadleaf, you kind of taste that toastiness. With the Sumatra, it's like a little bit of sweet and spice.
Yeah.
With the Connecticut, you get some of that creaminess.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, and also the Cameroon, you get that classic toothy, like sweet, mellow Cameroon flavor. They're just excellent.
This guy makes cigars sound sexy.
Right?
Right. Well,
I know, right?
I'm
He's
impressed.
like absolutely a connoisseur also, and
I'm
which is why I
impressed.
really, really enjoy talking to him about cigars. He just
and he's only 21. He's been smoking since he was 5.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
right? I know he's 21, and I'm just like, how do you know so much about cigars?
My son is 20.
20?
How do you know so much about cigars?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try to know. I have to sell it, so I want to know the product, so
Of
I can help,
course.
so I can help customers make good decisions. Help them find stuff they're gonna like.
Absolutely. And I mean, you always make good recommendations. You always make great. You always like know what I like, And then you're able to make recommendations based on that. And I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer.
The great Spencer.
Spencer.
Thank you so much for coming in and giving us.
So
I'm going to get one of those all-stars because that's very channeling. But I do want to say, so playing off of what Spencer was saying, wanting to be able to be familiar with customers. Tell the viewers, Lindsay, about what we smoked with Spencer last week.
Oh, we smoked the Davidoff Chef's Selection.
Edition, I think.
Chef's
whatever.
Edition.
Whatever.
Yes, it's the edition because I was saying special selection. Okay, yes.
C-H-E-F?
Chef's, yes,
Okay.
Chef's Edition. And they're brand new, just released, limited edition release. And we first saw them in Houston. And the box that they come in, and you know that I am like a sucker for an accoutrement, right?
Mhm.
Like if something comes in a cute packaging, I'm like, I need to have it.
Gotta have it.
Even if like I don't want it, I'm like, I gotta have it.
Let's just say her favorite brand of gum is Extra.
It is. So if there's like seriously, if there is like a convention and they have a good swag bag, I'm like, I don't even give a shit about the stuff, but I need the swag bag.
You
So
know
I'm
what
here.
swag stands for?
No.
Stuff we all get. That's where the term swag came from. Those giveaways
Okay, that makes
at
it, like,
conventions.
That makes
stuff
it
we all
much
get.
less great for me.
I know. It
I
kind
don't
of takes a
love
little
it.
punch out of the word swag.
It does. A swag
Swag's
just
cool.
seems
I know
like
stuff
swag.
too.
I love swag. Anyway, so the box that it comes in is this ceramic ashtray,
Oh shit.
like a white ceramic ashtray that's gorgeous. And the lid to it is like a wooden, almost like a cutting board. And you flip it over and there's like drink
It's
holders
a drink
and
tray
stuff on
with
it.
with the compartment in the middle for
I
the
was like,
cigars.
that's just
Fantastic.
bougie enough for me. I need one right now.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But the story behind these are so incredibly cool. They had a whole bunch of different chefs come together and curate everything, the tobacco used, the binder, the filler, the wrappers,
Mhm.
everything, how it was going to smoke through it and what they wanted it to represent. Incredible. Just exceptionally balanced. So good.
And
has-
expensive.
Very expensive,
Very
very
expensive.
expensive. But like I had to have the ashtray. And like Alex will tell you, I am not a person that's just like, I need to box those right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but I was just like, I really want this because
Gotta have
like the packaging is just so fucking cute.
I actually thought about you last week, right after we had lunch the other day. I was in Mobile for a few days, and I did not know that downtown Mobile is called LODA, L-O-D-A, for Lower Dolphin. It's where the ferry to Dolphin Island is.
Okay.
Amazing
I
cigar
think it's
shop.
a dolphin, and I was like,
downtown.
that's D-O. I don't understand.
Absolutely
Dolphin.
Dolphin. Yeah.
Dolphin. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cool little cigar shop. It's not that far away.
That's awesome.
So-
I go to every place I go. There's a local.
That
cigar
is
shop.
one
That's
thing-
why I thought about you.
And
We
that's
just
one
talked
thing
about
that I love about traveling with Alex now is like we're always just like, okay, we're going to a cool spot. Where are the cigar shops around? And we just go in and hit them up. And it's like we don't spend like a ton of money in each of them, but it's cool to just like talk to the people. And
Mhm.
Alex always does this thing of like, give me your selection. What do you recommend? Like,
Right.
what is your favorite stick? Cool.
It was such
You
a
know?
cool little spot. I thought about you. I thought it'd be cool to, like, if you guys ever going that way. pop
Hell
in there.
yeah.
They actually had a poetry reading that night. Had a
That's
whole
awesome.
little
Poetry
thing
reading.
set up in
Hey,
there.
can I get the torch?
Hey, speaking of torching things, what's the third
Okay,
wine
so
we have?
our I was just getting into that. So as you're nearing your final third, Mick, you'll taste more. And I don't know if you can taste this, but there's more of like a leathery component to it, and that's kind of where like your really heavy sort of base flavors are coming in. So you're going to get more of like a really rich leather. And so I paired that with a Sonoma County Cabernet Sauvignon.
So I don't want to say it feels like it's lost its freshness, but it feels like it's worn in at this
Right.
point. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's kind of what I'm getting at with the leather.
and
Like,
not in a bad way.
no,
It's just a different.
absolutely not. So if you like, I like to exhale, and Alex likes to retrohale. I also do.
It makes my head hurt. I'm trying.
It does. I
I
mean,
don't like it.
it does after a while. It kind of burns my sinuses a little bit.
Yeah.
But like afterwards, like I'll exhale my smoke, and then I just kind of like breathe through my sinuses, and you get sort of that really rich leather heaviness to it.
Yeah. It tastes like a different cigar.
But like the fruitiness is sort of gone and very mild.
Yeah.
John, one thing I want to mention to you, you've smoked a lot of Rockies with me.
Yeah, I love them.
And we've smoked a lot of Patrons, we smoked a lot of Fuentes, we smoked all kind of stuff. And one of the things that I find really amazing and that I don't truly understand is that every brand that I smoke, it's like there's a footprint to that brand where I can just identify I'm smoking one of their sticks, just from the basic flavor. And there's something about a Rocky Patel that every Rocky Patel has that flavor.
It has that sort of jamminess to it.
Yeah, jamminess. Yeah. It's like the tobacco flavors are roasty. Yeah. They're malty tasting, and there's that fruity sweetness kind of just in there, and it's unique and it's good. It's not the kind of flavor where I would be like, call my mother, tell her what I'm smoking. Like it's not like that kind of flavor, but it's just nice. It's quality, and every Rocky has that. And I don't know if other guys kind of pick that up, but we've not tested that, and I'd like to do that on a future show. But I really think though that you could basically just blind taste a cigar and be like, it's this brand. Yeah. Because like my father sticks, they have a similar thing. Padron, they have a similar thing. It's just really neat how that works.
So if I'm being, we never got a chance to do it. Remember, we were going to take off the wrappers and just have you do like a blind taste and say like what's what or whatever. Oh no, it was supposed to be a great show. We just never did it. But you know what? You know what's really
1 year anniversary? We'll do that.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm down with that. But listen, but check this out. So, you know what I'm really getting into, and this is kind of like one of those weird things, and I don't know why they're just coming up as being so good to me. But the new worlds, like the new worlds, are really getting on point for me. Like they're inexpensive, and they're just a choice cigar.
A lot of guys like the New World. I've had a couple of them. I don't know if I've had enough to really be able to give you an informed opinion. I've had one that was, it didn't really impress me. I believe it was the New World Maduro, but then I'd had.
Was it a lower tier, or was it a lower tier New World, or was it one of the kind of like $16, $17? Oh,
it wasn't that much. It was. I would say is in the budget range. I think it was like maybe $10.
But see, that's where I'm kind of excited, because their budget smokes are on point. Like that's why it's weird for me to like. Maybe you just got a bad one.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of like the real Rocky budget sticks, like the Edge.
You're talking about the Edge. Oh God, I'm with you.
The Edge ones are not.
I'm with you on that one.
Great.
I don't know why they do that.
Space. You like the Edges? Really? Yeah. Okay, so if you're like. In the world of budget sticks, right? Like if we're only looking in the world of budget sticks, there are way better budget sticks for the price.
Nestor Miranda.
I mean, Nestor, literally, Nestor Miranda, Buenaventura's. I feel like those are just across the board better sticks.
Y'all should resmoke the Edge Humidor. Give another shot.
All right, let's age one. I haven't had one in a very long time.
It's been a long time since I've had an Edge.
Okay, so let's talk about, has everybody tried their pairing?
Hold on, I'm sorry.
This
I
third
gift those cigars because I won't smoke them.
Before John tastes it.
Yeah.
You're not a wine guy.
No, I'm not a wine guy. I haven't.
So taste it. Let's talk about it.
Can I guess why you chose this one?
Sure.
Please.
So this is it's a Louis Martini Cabernet. Cabernet grapes are like they're the Rocky Marciano of grapes. They've been around forever. They always pack a punch. They're always on point. Louis Martini's been around in Napa for close to 100 years, so their roots are super old. So this is like this would be a wine that you can't fail with, regardless of whatever situation it came out of nowhere. So with that thought in mind, and we're in the third of the cigar, where we've experienced a whole journey here. This will bring it all together. How about that?
So it's heavier than our Rioja.
Yeah, Cabernets are super resilient. They can grow in most every climate. Cabernet grapes are grown all over the world.
It adds sort of a like Rockies also to me have sort of an underlying sort of like just a teensy tiny bit of like spice. right? Like maybe like a baking spice, a black pepper or something like that, but it's not ever overwhelming. There's several sticks where the wrapper itself is just a spicy wrapper. And like literally my lips will burn, not temperature wise, obviously, but
I
like
can feel the roof of my mouth is
right.
I mean, I know I'm being spoken
Okay,
for a
so
while,
I mean
but
that's
still.
just, but I thought that the sort of black pepper element to a cab has like hits that note
Cabernet's
really well.
super hardy. It just makes sense to me. I don't know. I think you did really well.
I like a cab in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
I love a cab in the wintertime. They're like very fruity, just very rich. Like I love a Cabernet in the wintertime.
It's the gumbo of wines.
All right, John.
It is. Cabs and Merlots are like my
I
thing.
want to
in
ask you
winter.
a question here. Since
I'm down.
you've smoked enough Rockies, where would you put this stick ranked in the Rocky? Now, just so you know, this got what, a 95 on Cigar Aficionado?
Aficionado, I think was a 92. 95 was like some random thing.
So it's ranked a 90 plus. Where would you put it ranked wise, comparatively speaking, with the other Rocky Patel selections?
John's like 150 or 75.
No, get out of here. No, I would say it's right where it's supposed to be at 92.
No, but I mean, compare with like as far as what Rockies do you think are better? What Rockies do you think are worse than this?
Oh, man, hey, come on! You're gonna put me on a spot like that? I'm gonna Simon Cowell this shit, dude.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'd say 92 because it is an exceptional. Because I think like it, you could pair this with pretty much anything. You're good if you go with a wine, that's weird for me right now.
Right.
I would love to see it with a good like rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Like a good whiskey, like a good bourbon. But if I'm being honest, it's no 50th. I wouldn't even put it near that. Even
the Rocky 50th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it nowhere near that.
I mean the 55th?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
My bad. But no, and even the new one, well, this is it.
The new one is the 60.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one. Sorry. I just had that.
You had that?
I did. I'm sorry.
Oh, you bad.
Dude, come on. Like I wasn't going to go to Kennett. Like I actually featured on, by the way, I'm the nub's coming out soon.
Well, there was the 50 and then there was a 60. Which one did you have?
The 60.
You had the 60.
Yeah, he had them there. You'll see, like it's in the nub. Like
all
I'm
right,
like,
so what'd you think of it?
Fucking epic. It makes this look like Swiss cheese.
All right. Well, I haven't had the 60 yet. I haven't had the 50 yet. I have that in my collection. I would say you're right about the 55th.
Yes.
I do think the 55th is better than this, but this is up there with the RP90 as far as just great flavor.
I think it's better than the 90 for sure.
It might be better than 90. I don't think. I think it's better than the winter. I think it's better than the quarter century. Those are
better than the winter.
I think it's better than the winter.
I find this much fruitier, and the winter is heavier.
I actually disagree with you on that one.
You think the winter's
And I
better?
have to disagree with her on the 90. I'm sorry. I guess maybe I had different ones. I don't know.
Oh, you don't think the 90 and the winter are that great?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the 90 is good. I started on that was one of the first Maduros that I ever smoked was the 90, and then Alex really liked the winters for a while, and so I smoked some of those. And then the Hamlets also, we would smoke those pretty frequently. Hamlets are great.
Compare this with a Hamlet.
That's what I was about to just say. This is not as good as a Hamlet.
No, it's
No.
not.
It's not.
But
Sorry,
it's also-
Hamlet kills this.
It's also not as heavy as the Hamlet.
The Hamlets are heavy, but they're
Damn, I'll give
good.
you that
Hamlets
one, too.
are very, very full flavored, very, very leather, very like this is much fruitier and just lighter overall.
So
More like a medium body.
The novice or all these other ones you're talking about, the same.
They're all right.
What did you call them? Like, what's the size?
This is a Toro.
It's a Toro size. So this is a 50 gauge?
Oh, I think it's 50 or 52.
Yeah. So I mean they get larger ring sizes. That just means the circumference of the cigar.
Of them make a difference in the flavor?
Yes, it does. So the more it's really interesting is so the different sizes are called vitolas.
Vitolas.
Vitolas, yes.
Italian?
Huh?
No, I'm your hype man.
The hype man.
Sorry.
Come on, Gata. All right. So the different sizes, like the ring gauges, the circumference is called the vitola.
Yep.
And the smaller that they get, the more of that.
The more you got to work.
But also the more of that wrapper flavor is prominent because you're losing the binder and the filler.
You don't have as much filler.
Right. So the thinnest, longest ones, which I thought forever, I was like, I love these because they are thin and they're long and they remind me of John's penis.
Understood.
Did they go left?
They do. They take a very sharp curve at the end. It's very weird. Anyway, no, but I was like, these are great for female hands, right? I don't like them.
She said.
I was like, my hands are too large for these. My hands are very, very large.
I'm sorry.
My hands are too big for that vitola. But
that's not what we love.
You love
that's the
small
case.
hands, right? I know, but my hands are too large for yours. Anyway, but that vitola to me is too wrapper heavy.
Yeah,
and so it loses the balance. I love a Toro. I feel like that's the perfect balance.
This
right?
feels
You're getting
right. I mean, it feels like the right.
Right. So as you get more binder and filler, that changes the flavor. What's really interesting is one of our favorite daily smokes is the Nestor Miranda Special Selection. And we've gotten several different vitolas in there. We'll do the coffee break size, which are essentially, are they a Toro or
Robusto? Is that like a little Robusto?
No, they're shorter than a Robusto. They're 4s, not 4.5.
Oh, they're very little.
They're very short, but they're about this size, but they're just very short.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also gotten the Gordos. The Gordos are just real fat, so they have more binder and filler.
Sounds really good.
660.
Yeah, so it's
a
60 gauge and 6 inches long. I like those. I do. I really like the Gordos.
I like Gordos.
But I do prefer just the Toro size.
And this is a Toro.
That's a Toro.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like
I'm learning so much. You
I
guys.
might actually. I'm probably not right in this, but in my opinion, when a cigar is created, they create the Toro first and then differentiate from that.
Yeah.
It's probably very, very wrong.
You also have to take into consideration on how it's rolled, how it's pressed. Is it machine pressed or is it, you know what I mean? All that stuff plays it.
Is it machine
Makes
rolled
sense.
versus hand rolled?
Yeah,
Is it
all that
pressed
plays
in a
factor.
box?
How would you just
Yes,
know?
Spencer.
How would you just know that?
This feels hand rolled.
Yeah.
Spencer is coming in and offering some assistance,
Lay it on,
probably.
Spence.
Okay, so what y'all are smoking are premium cigars. And a premium cigar is a hand-rolled cigar. So
Right.
99% of the cigars in our inventory, and in the inventory of most cigar shops are hand-rolled.
That feels
Mhm.
like an important statistic.
They're rolled by hand. By actually a skilled craftsman called torchadors.
Called what?
Torchadors.
Torchadors.
Yes, and there's different methods of rolling, particularly with the filler, but they're all rolled by hand. Machine factory rolled stuff is typically cigarillos. Some nice ones, but typically it's the cheap.
There's some, yeah. It tends to be the cheaper cigars that are,
Swisher Sweets.
yeah. I mean,
So
and
it's
like
pretty
the little
easy to
cigarillos
distinguish.
and probably the factory smokes and stuff are factory smokes.
They're long.
Are they hand rolled or okay? Wow, that's shocking
Yeah,
actually.
So typically what happens is starting out as a torchador, you're rolling bundle cigars. So bundle cigars like Perdomo Frescos, factory smokes, and all that, they're the cheaper premium cigars. And so typically quality is a tad lower, but they're not bad by any means. But as they get more user experience, we go from rolling bundle smokes, which is just large volume,
Mm-hmm.
medium quality, to premium cigars. So you're looking at probably 6, 7.
I'm not sure if anybody can hear him right
Yeah,
now,
they
but he's
are.
telling
No,
us
we
about.
can hear him.
Okay,
Oh,
good,
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Very good.
Well, that's like one of the things reading about Davidoff is that they have that same tiering like everybody does.
Yep.
And for their most exclusive offerings, it's like the best of the best of the best of the rollers. They graduate to have the right to be able to roll for this and the
Yeah, I mean that's like so.
the Davidoff Royals,
Like you go to
which that's like their
cool,
their,
like-
their,
I was just
their,
about to
their
say.
number one. You have to like be a lifer and graduate to be able to roll.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Davidoff
something
Royal
they're not
stick.
just like hiring like random people off the street.
Right.
I mean, these
And,
are
like,
people that have been doing this
the
for
more
generations.
the more I read about them, the more I'm just like, I gotta get one.
Oh my God.
You can roll your
Just
own.
one.
No,
Is that step?
No, I got to get one of those Royals. It's $100 a stick, but
Yeah, that's
okay.
just the thing that you got to work up to that. Like you want to appreciate, like hands down, you will not appreciate $100 cigar if you're not like
cultured. To
Oh
that,
yeah,
to that
wine
way.
is no different.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I mean,
You're
other
not gonna
liqueurs-
like
appreciate
if I didn't know anything about wine and I went and bought $100 bottle of wine, I'd be like, I can't.
Well,
I can't.
It's really funny. It's the most expensive bottle of wine I ever paid for. It was almost $700 for the bottle.
Jesus Christ.
And the first sip, because I did the clarity test and the whole nine, and I took a drink of it, and the very first thought before it was in my stomach is, this is not worth $700 to me. I don't think I know enough to appreciate a wine of that caliber.
Absolutely.
Much like I would assume I would not appreciate $100 cigar.
Absolutely.
Dude, as much as I'm into it, I still don't know if I'm at the place where I can appreciate
Exactly. I
the
know a
depth.
And I mean,
fuck ton about wine.
it
but I
absolutely-
did not appreciate it.
But it absolutely also is like, we have figured out that like if we want to smoke a very, very good cigar that we have been waiting on to smoke, we don't have people over.
True.
Nope.
We go out on
a
the
private
patio.
affair.
We go out on the patio and we don't even really talk very much. Every once in a while, we'll like read or play around on our phones or whatever. And then, every once in a while we're like, all right, what are you getting?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can just very, very hyper focus on what's going on and the construction and everything else.
Full
it's-
appreciation mode.
It's really interesting. I like am a huge fan of cigar culture.
Yeah.
Like-
we got to the point where the last box that we bought, those Davidoffs, was a little high on the price end, but the thing was that in smoking it, to play off of what you said, I wasn't even finished with the first third where I was like, this tastes like the price is on point.
Yeah.
Like, I could taste why it was so
You
expensive.
understood it.
And I was just like, I'm about it.
right.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
ever since then, I find myself just thinking about smoking those cigars. Like we got together
We got a
last
whole
night,
box.
and I was just like, I'd love to smoke that cigar. But I was like, no, I can't do it.
We're
And I keep
we're
going back to
aging
it.
them right now.
Oh man, we may smoke one for our anniversary.
Hey,
But-
speak on that, because the audience needs to understand that some cigars, like you should get them and start aging them.
Yeah, that's something I've never even
Well,
heard of
oftentimes
before.
we'll buy two and one to smoke then. And a lot of times, we'll like share one because I don't want to, honestly, like if they're expensive cigars, I'm not buying four, so we'll share one and share thoughts. And then we have a humidor that's just our aging collection. And so, I was thinking this morning, I'm like, I would really like to find a way to date each one so we could,
Oh, that'd be fun.
even if it's just like an app, right? Or not even an app, but like just a note in my
Just put
phone.
just put it in your notes. That's what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Spencer's raising his
Yes,
hand.
Spence.
Sorry for
Is there an app already for this? Because if so, I'm about it.
There might be, I'm not sure.
I think there
but
is.
Another suggestion too, going along those lines, is if you can afford it, buy more than 2 sticks. Buy, let's say 5, 10, maybe a box.
And age them on different,
And
yeah.
you can smoke them in
Different
intervals
times.
and take notes on how it changes.
Because they definitely do. Like the flavors, right? The flavors like absolutely mature. There's been a couple that, we've smoked like
Now, some
one
people-
right away and then one 3 months later, and they're just different.
So to play off what John is saying with the effect time has on the cigar, I guess I'm in a privileged position because one of my best buddies has an aged Cuban cigar selection. And so I'm smoking a lot of stuff that's been aged like 5 years because of how long he's had this stuff.
Mhm.
And I
And when he
read
brings them to us, it's like,
I read what other people are saying about like the fresh off the line versions. And then I smoke the aged ones, and the age brings such a depth of character to the flavor that I can't really put into words. It's that amazing. And so it's very true that, once you go into like the 1, 2, 3, 4 through 7 years of aging, it's like you really are getting a lot of returns. on the
you also
flavor.
have to express to the audience and everything else that, and everyone else, especially you,
Yeah.
is that the majority of the leaves are already aged.
right.
Like, they don't just go like, oh, we just chop them down, dry them out, and then
Yeah,
just
they
chop-
have to age
Hang 'em,
them
dry
and
'em.
ferment them.
Yeah.
And depending on how long they're aged and fermented, that determines the level of cigar that they go into.
So I don't know if this is weird or not, but it's almost like I'm tasting like a forest, like a birch tree or a sycamore tree or
Right.
Does
So
that make
that's
sense? It
the
tastes like a forest
that's
right
the
now.
woodiness, and
Okay.
that's kind of that's that's your final notes in a cigar. You're going like wood, leather. Those are your overwhelming.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the audience should probably know by now. I am not a cigar person really at all. I'll smoke if Alex gives me one. I'll smoke it, kind of a thing.
You're about to be, buddy.
Well, that's why I went in this with a clear head. I didn't want to have any preconceived notions about what I was going to taste, and I'm glad I paired it with wine because I can associate. Right. I can't associate with bourbon at all. Right. So I would have been sipping and this is good, but I'm trying to make a comparison.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way with whiskey. Whiskey is just I just haven't gotten into it really, and maybe I should. And I'm getting there. Okay, I had a very, very extremely bad experience with whiskey. No, I just puke really easy. And whiskey makes me barf. Anyway, but I'm kind of getting into it, and so I think as I'm able to get into it more, I'll be able to appreciate it more. But I really enjoy pairing my beverages, and just whiskey is not one that I can get into enough to be able to do that. So then it's just kind of I'm just getting drunk, But
it makes sense to me with the wine because I know wine. Yes. Basically.
But talking about what you were saying about spending the $700 on a bottle of wine and why you would do that, there are a lot of guys who smoke where their involvement in the culture is really just I like smoking stuff, and so they just want to. It's really, can I afford it? Is it good? Okay, fine. And that's about as far as it goes.
It's an ego move.
But when you find somebody who's like, I want to get all there is to get out of this culture. I want to get all. Then you end up with situations where you're like, I know what's good. I know what I want to smoke if I just want to have something with coffee in the morning or with friends in the evening, wherever. But if you really are interested in being able to say I am now able to say I've tasted the best of what there is out to offer, then you start looking for those types of collector boutique cigars where they're going to fetch a higher price tag, but they're going to have a better story. There are a lot of companies that produce cigars that before it makes the retailer, it's already been aged 5 years or 8 years or 10 years, and it's gonna be manifest with a much higher sticker. But when you smoke it, you're just like, dude, I can taste that this has been aged a long time.
Yeah, you can absolutely taste the difference.
So if you buy a cigar that it's already been aged a series of years, then it's not really going to be one of those where, okay, if you stick it in your humidor for a year, it's going to get that much better. Yeah. But there's a lot of them where they really haven't been aged that long, but they are just really good sticks. You age those, and now it's like, oh, you're bringing this new element to the game that we didn't taste earlier, and I want to see how far you can go. And so I never thought that I would really get that way, but yeah, I went from just I like cigars, I want to know what's good, to now it's like I have a collection that in a couple of years I might start enjoying them. But it's nuts.
Well, that's what we were talking off air. Price can be relative if you know what it is you have. You know what I mean? You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on anything if you understand what it is you're experiencing.
I mean, with wine, I'm comfortably in the $20 to $30 bottle range, and that's about what I can appreciate at this point. And I've been a wine connoisseur for several years now. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, right? I was I was drinking just super sweet white wines.
Whatever was on sale.
Yeah, whatever was very, very cheap.
I like it.
Very, very cheap. But now, I really appreciate the differences in. I'm not just looking to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
looking to get Beaujolais.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like the Beaujolais. Makes me feel some kind of way.
Hey, but can we switch gears? Can we switch gears to hot topics that are out there right now?
Dude, I haven't been in a hot topic in so long.
Hot topics suck right now. I'm sorry.
The not only the news that's going on, our culture and how things are changing. Can we start talking about that? Because I'm at the point where this.
We're in our nub, and you're talking about
no.
Pop culture.
We have to talk about it right now.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
No, we have.
The world is just too much for me to handle right now, which is why I think I've gone so far down the cigar rabbit hole, because it's it doesn't piss me off like the rest of the world does.
Exactly. That's kind of where my point. That's kind of where I'm going with this. When are we going to say enough is enough?
I don't know. I've just lost myself.
I wanted to get around a bunch of people, because I couldn't. I was it was my brother's birthday. I haven't seen my mom in forever, and she's not doing well. So I wanted to go spend some time with them. But seeing people and the way that they're reacting to what's going on in the world, Like I got their perspective, like kind of like hinting and like trying to understand where they were coming from, because they're from the Northeast. You know what I mean? That's like it starts there and then it drips down to us. You know what I mean?
Isn't your mom Australian?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you inherited her boomerang.
Do you guys see what I have to put up with?
It's a lot of bullshit, honestly. I get
I
it.
missed you so much.
I get it so much. So I am at I'm at the nub right now, and it is turning
that's a no.
for me.
So that's a no. You guys
That's a turning for me.
That's
So
that's a big pivot. That's a
yes.
That's about as crooked as my dick. She was like, I'm hanging on big.
Let's just say John's dick is so crooked it wants to run for office.
State or federal? There's a difference.
Louisiana governor.
No, Louisiana
So
mayor.
real fucking crooked.
Real
Okay.
crooked. So I agree. Like, I have to like purposefully intentionally take myself out of the world sometimes, because like so much of our
I'm gonna change it up for you right now. I know. I get that part. I'll switch it up then.
Okay, what you got?
Music. How
Christ,
shitty
I thought he was
is
going to go for
music
something like okay.
Yeah, I didn't
Right
see music
now.
coming.
I didn't
Real
see,
shitty.
Okay, so
it's on another level of shit.
okay, I didn't see you going in the music direction. A very, very, very extremely left turn there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, dude, you guys
You're
don't
like,
want to.
wow,
You don't want to talk
world
about
is
the
so
world
shitty
and what's
music.
happening. Like, it is shitty. But then, like, to even add more spice in the friggin'.
You know, I like
pumpkin.
spicy.
Yeah, I know, but like, throw
More
that pumpkin
spice in the
spice on it.
pumpkin spice.
Dude, how crappy is music right now? Like,
I
dude,
can't
there's
even
not a
tell
good
you.
thing out.
I don't know of any recent new music I've even listened to, honestly.
Yeah,
Okay,
dude,
so-
I don't even want to
I
hear
pay
music
attention
right
to
now.
it.
Like, normally that
Okay,
takes you away
stop.
from all the politics.
No,
and
I like Pearl Jam.
I love my man.
I also like DMB. What up?
Is it, no,
The Dave
let's
Matthews.
just be honest. Like, even music can't take you away from this.
I
Like,
feel like
what is happening right now?
I don't feel like there's any. I'm too drunk to talk about this.
Bullshit.
You're gonna get us taken now.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
No, her.
I-
Okay,
Fair.
so
I don't feel like there's any identity.
Thank
Well,
you.
It's
I don't know.
One in
It's
any
just-
way
Okay,
right
so-
now. Like everyone's searching for an identity. It feels. I feel like.
I have gone so far down the like modern soul music movement, like the Alan Stones, the Leon Bridges, the Anderson Easts. Their music right now is fucking killing it. Like killing it. We are
I'll
like
give you Alan Stone.
going back so far to our like soul music roots, and that is like comforting. Right? Like I love listening to like Otis is my man, right? Like Sundays
my
are
man.
like Otis Redding radio for me.
Yep.
Love Otis Redding.
Dig it.
Like all of those soul, like those old like 50s, 60s, 70s sort of soul musicians, those are great. But we have all these modern soul musicians also that are coming out, like Alan Stone. I don't know if you've heard of Alan
I've
Stone.
heard of him. I'm very familiar with Leon Bridges.
And
I
love
this
Leon
stuff.
Bridges.
Dude, if you,
Love Leon
I'm
Bridges.
serious, and she's speaking the truth right now. If you listen to Alan Stone, he
I'm
will
out.
change.
Alan Stone.
God,
Alan Stone,
he is
will
like
change.
I
your
know
life.
the name, but I don't know.
he
the
is
name.
an
Dude, yeah.
incredible vocalist.
Okay.
Incredible. Like just has that like just old.
Who's the
Comforting
new
vibe.
heavy set, extremely tattooed?
Oh,
What's his
bro, who
name?
is that? Man, let me look because he's.
no, he's.
I was just
no,
listening
he's
to him
worth.
this morning.
he's
Spencer's
worth-
talking shit about modern music.
Oh my god. That's-
Which would land a lot harder if
Oh,
Bruce Chris was good.
I'm honest.
You're right.
I've been
You're
in
not
a Leonard
lying.
Skinner phase recently.
Really?
I grew up on Leonard Skinner. There's a really cool documentary on Netflix about the band, and
Man,
I've gone
is that?
whole hog into Leonard Skinner again.
It's like Mickey something or other. No,
it's
I'm
not.
with you on that.
No, I know who you're talking
Love it.
about.
It's
and it ain't
timeless.
that.
Yeah. No, hold on.
Heavy
what is
set.
his name?
Jesse Dayton.
No, it's not Jesse.
Jesse Dayton. Oh man,
Jesse
I like
Dayton's
him
good.
too.
He's good. He's another heavy set guy. That's not who I'm talking about. If you said his name, I would be like, yeah, that's him.
Lawrence.
No,
He's great.
It's a Mickey or something like. It's like something off. But anyway, this guy, look. He is also because Alan Stone and this guy, I can't remember his name right now. They did a duet,
Mhm.
and every soulful
Now I
singer
gotta find
who's out
it.
there, they were like, oh my god, these two white dudes are crushing soul music right
Right.
now.
Okay.
Like just destroying it. Is so good.
So the two albums that I've been like obsessed with lately,
I'll get to you. I'll
the new Anderson East album,
Yep.
incredible, fantastic. If you haven't listened to it, absolutely listen to it. It just came out maybe a month ago or so, month and a half, I don't know. And the new St. Paul and the Broken Bones album. What did Bo say?
sorry. Bo said also Ruth Chris blows.
Ruth Chris absolutely does. Like, God damn it.
There
If
go
there
those
was
sponsorship dollars.
right, if there was a restaurant that you could be like, I'm gonna take you to Ruth's Chris. Like, I remember the first time I got taken to Ruth's Chris on a date night.
Bo, actually,
It wasn't
I'm gonna
ever
agree with
Alex.
you. Bo, I'm going to agree with you on pretty much everybody you just put on that list. But you know what? They're not. Here's the thing, Bo. They're not on popular, like they're not on radio stations. You have to go seek these people out.
Who?
You know what I mean? He's talking about everyone we're talking about, like
Nathan,
Leon Bridges, like dude,
Nathaniel-
Tyler. Dude, he's talking about
Nathaniel
everybody.
Ratcliffe.
Tyler Childers.
So listen, you're right, but you have to go seek those people out. They're not going to be out there for the popular opinion to go, like, oh, they're great music. You want to know why?
Spencer's
Because
got
it's
some
not
knowledge in
talking
the
about
comments.
grabbing someone's
I see what you're
ass or
saying.
whatever, and that's a
Okay,
sad
you
part
better
of our
stop
society.
with. Are you talking about Megan Thee Stallion? Because like, I gotta say, that's the way that I clean the house. Is Adderall and Megan Thee Stallion. I get some shit
Oh my
done.
Oh my God.
I
What
also
about
drop
St.
it like
Paul
it's
and
hot.
Broken Bones, System
I feel
Members?
myself when I'm cleaning the house.
So Bo just mentioned St. Paul.
St. Paul and the
Hi,
Broken Bones.
Bo. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Good
Okay,
to
so
see
St.
you.
Paul and the Broken Bones, they came out with an album just recently. Man, it is incredible. That the whole band, I saw them live at ACA a couple years ago, and
But
they're
tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. If there was ever a point to where we need soul music, something that
absolutely.
moves
Right
our body
fucking now.
to where it's right friggin' now.
Agreed,
For
yeah.
sure.
This is the time where we grab the fucking bull by its goddamn
Dude,
nuts and
remember
just
back
make it
in the
real.
80s when pop music's edge was Madonna, where it's like, oh, like a prayer. Everybody's freaking out about it. And that was the avant-garde of pop culture, where it was pushing those boundaries. And it's like, here we are 30 something years later. And what is pop music doing now? It's just like
Nothing.
a donkey
Nothing.
show
It's
set
horrible.
to music.
It's a regurgitation.
It's just like, okay, so we're not even trying to like be artistic about it. It's a race towards the bottom of just like who could be the most bass in their lyrics. And it's you know, Two Live
Alex,
Crew was
100%,
bad.
100%. And I agree with you. Two Live Crew, I'll give you all those things. But let me explain something to you.
Okay,
It's because there's no
Two Live Crew.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll give you that, dude. I will give you all that. It has its place. But when you need depth, when you need teeth, when you need something to say, like, it speaks to my freaking soul.
Well, that is why.
Fucking
That is
WAP is not speaking
Listen,
to my soul.
for sure. It
I'm
does.
sorry.
Like there is a grounding that comes from modern soul music. Absolutely. Like that is why when I get home at night, our job is extremely emotionally heavy, right? Like
I would agree.
I shoulder the emotional burden of all of our clients all day long. And so there's absolutely days where I come home and I am like, I tell him, I'm like, I've got no spoons today. I've been dealing with people's emotions all day. I got a lot.
What was it? And I'm speaking to the audience too. What was the first thing I told you and I told you the first time we ever like got deep? I told you, and I don't know if you guys remember this. I said I could never do what you two do.
No way.
I couldn't do it. It's too because I wear my heart on my sleeve like 100% of the day.
Probably 3 out of 5 days a week, I cry at my desk. Honestly.
That's what I'm saying.
Just
Like
going
I
through
can't
stuff,
do
and I'm
what
just
you
like,
do. That's why I'm glad
cry
that you
about it.
have your demeanor the way that you do,
well,
because you're just like, you know what? I have to do a job. This is my thing. This is what I do. And especially you, because you do the majority of the
so I think
paperwork crap.
what it is I go through all of the super emotional stuff, and that's my job. I block
don't tell me that
stuff.
this man doesn't get emotional because
No,
you
no,
say like
no,
you
no,
don't
no,
have those emotions. But you do, bro.
No, that's not what I'm
You
saying.
do 100%.
I'm saying that like the stuff that comes in, right? So if I have to like go through like a DCF, let's say some kids were like taken from a parent, right?
Yeah.
I have to like read through the entire DCFS art like file,
Yeah.
which exhaustive. It's a lot. You consider like, okay, these are children that this stuff has happened to, right? So what I go through is I read through it all. I like get all of those emotions and then I condense it for him. He doesn't have to read through all of that stuff. So he doesn't have to like shoulder those emotional burdens. But at the end of the day, when I get home and I have that kind of stuff, the first thing that I turn to is jazz, whether it is Ella or Frank or, but so
Lake
often.
Street Drive.
So often.
I saw them
So
live
often.
downtown.
So often though, it's been soul. It's been the modern soul, Alan Stone, and that kind of stuff. And it's grounding.
Do you ever dive into like late 50s, early 60s country?
Oh, absolutely. I was raised on that.
There's something.
I was raised on that.
It's not soul, and it's not like country like Garth Brooks, George Strait, but it's like a middle ground between soul music and country music.
It's extremely emotional.
It's so like Conway Twitty, Waylon Jennings in the early days. There was just something
Love me some
special.
Waylon.
Oh, there's something special.
I was raised on Waylon, and then like as I was a younger child, like 5, 6, my dad listened to a lot of like modern country, but I mean that was like in the early 90s. So it's like Brooks and Dunn, Randy Travis,
Travis Tritt,
like Randy Travis, like those kind of things. So I mean, I'm like
Clint Black.
Oh man, I had a thing going for Clint Black and Randy Travis when I was like 7, 8.
Dude, look, as a musician, as somebody who's like, I could go on any style of music and tell you why the pieces work or why they don't work. Country music is like the soul for those country people.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
Like the Kanye Twitty. Dude, come on. There's a reason why that
Kanye Twitty?
Kanye Twitty is what I'm going to be for Halloween this year.
I'm sorry. I said Kanye.
Oh my God.
You just said Kanye. Oh my God.
I'm Kanye Twitty.
All right.
Kanye Twitty.
I found my Halloween
Oh my
costume.
God. I just
I'm
said
big
that. I
Kanye
can't believe. I'm
Twitty.
sorry. I disrespected you. I'm
He
so
like
sorry.
super
I know you're
did,
done,
man.
Oh my.
Oh
We're
my
gonna
God.
get a letter from
We
Conway
are
Twitty
drunk.
and Kanye.
No.
These
Kanye's
were
gonna be
great wine
Listen,
pairings.
let me
I'm
tell you,
glad I
my
picked those
Yeezys
bottles.
weren't ready for that.
I'm gonna let you finish, but my song is better.
What I'm trying to say is like he spoke to the masses in that. Thank you for that, making me feel better.
Just picturing the costume is so funny.
Dude, that would be an awesome dude. See, I told them last night what my Halloween costume was going to be this year, and I think it's epic. They're all telling me not to do it.
Whoa.
We didn't say not to
The
do
first
it.
thing you said was not to do it. He agreed.
I'm sorry.
He was like, I got to rethink mine.
Never once did that come out
I
of my
want to
mouth.
vote. What's the
Never once. Never once did that come.
I think we should go full Tu Wong Fu.
Very interesting.
Okay,
Dude,
so can I
But
just
you,
say?
I mean, I'm gonna have to.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Can
But no, I can
I
see
just
it.
I could do
say
it.
that I am almost offended that he asked you one time and you told him. How many times did I have to ask?
Is he coming to the park? Well, actually, you were at the
Maybe.
last party.
What the fuck
Maybe.
just happened?
So like he was like
She's so mad because I didn't tell her. I wouldn't
he
tell
was
her.
like not gonna tell me last night what he was gonna be, right? And I had to like
I'm not going, so he can tell me.
I had to pour
Are you
several
going?
cups.
No, I'm actually. I don't know.
Is he going to the park? He was at the last one.
No, but it's at a different place. It's a different part.
Yeah.
Who
Anyway.
cares? He doesn't know.
Okay, so Kanye Twitty would be an
I'll bring him
amazing.
if he wants to go.
Okay.
you could be my plus one
Okay.
because I don't really like the date that I had.
He's like, I don't really like men.
I'm just kidding.
women.
I
I
do
don't-
like the date that I had, but you could be my plus one.
+2.
+1. Okay, anyway, getting back to Kanye Twitty, that would be an amazing Halloween costume. And you should
Dude,
do
could
that.
you?
Nobody would
do
get
it.
it.
I'm gonna
Imagine
nobody
Nobody would get it. That's
Kanye
it.
Twitty.
That's what makes it fun.
Okay,
Nobody
that's
would get it.
what's
And I
funny
could
about it.
explain it like 30 times.
But
It's
listen,
wrong,
there's
right.
this fucking guy who had way too much wine, and he said Kanye Twitty.
Let's see. We killed 2 bottles and we got almost. It's a
This
lot.
is really whatever this one was.
We
This
have
is
like
the cab. This is the stalwart. This is the Waffle House of wines. It's always there
the
for you.
Waffle House of wines.
It's always there for you. It's always good.
All right,
It's always.
Jen.
I gotta say though, like a
I don't mean that.
$7 or $8 bottle of Cab is not nearly a $20 bottle of Cab.
My favorite Cabernet of all time is Sorry, I'm reading comments. I'm sorry. My favorite Cabernet of all
I'm
time
about it, Bo. I'm about it.
is a
What the fuck
Francis
is he
Ford
saying?
Coppola wine.
Bo would be like,
I
not
love
only that,
Coppola
not
wines.
only
They're
that-
great.
Coppola has a special edition called Director's Cut.
Okay.
I do that
And
for you.
they carry it locally at a couple of places. And the label looks like a film strip wrapped around the bottle. It's like,
Oh my
I've seen that.
It's like $25.
Oh my God.
Damn you, Bo.
And the show's over.
It's
We
the best Cabernet I've ever had. It's so delicious.
All right, grab it.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
good.
We were very rude to our listeners. What were you guys saying? Can you say that whole thing again? I'm so sorry.
No, we're not repeating it.
But no, he actually.
There was I'm gonna Cliff
Yeah,
Notes it for
Cliff
you.
Notes.
There was a Francis Ford Coppola has a wine company.
Yeah,
He makes a director's cut of a Cabernet. That's
It's called
excellent.
Director's Cut.
dude. The same thing with
I have not had
so-
it, but it sounds
so
great, and I'm
good.
gonna go grab it.
So you like the band Tool? Maynard James Keenan.
God damn it! You gotta like warn me about these. Like,
There's
yes, I
actually
do, but you gotta warn me about these. Like,
No,
incredible
Maynard
lectures.
James Keenan has his own wine blend. He's like amazing.
Really? Where can I find it?
Look, okay, well, look, I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna send you all his details.
so
But no, like seriously, like look that up too.
there's two Director's Cuts. There's one that's a straight cab, and then there's one called Technicolor, and the label is actually in Technicolor, and it's a blend. It's a Grenache, a Cabernet, and a Malbec.
John, did you
Love
know that
Very
James Maynard Keenan actually was
It's
into
Maynard
wine
James Keenan.
before-
Jesus Christ!
Whatever.
Respect
Maynard
Tool.
James-
Maynard-
yes, thank you.
He was into
God.
wine before he
Wow.
did music, and he actually named his band after his favorite wine opener.
Fucking Christ!
Tool.
Why could you please, Jesus Christ? Why did you not
Because I know
mute?
the guy, I'm gonna be like,
Can I
I'm gonna tell
unplug
him
it?
that
How do I
next
unplug it?
I'm probably
Do I
not gonna see him
unplug
for a long time.
Look at this. Watch. I'm gonna unplug his mute.
It doesn't work like that.
No,
That's
stop
cool.
Leave it alone.
Just mute his shit already. God.
So
Anyway.
did I ever tell you my Maynard the first time I ever met him?
Yes.
Still on air.
I did. I
Did he like
Yeah.
eat
Oh, no, I
your
can totally
soul
tell.
or
He didn't
something?
Yes.
No.
Look at the comments, John.
So, fuck it, I'm telling the story.
Okay.
So we were an up and coming band, and so he was having. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, so he was having a lunch, and he was having it at a titty bar.
He was having
And-
strip club lunch, which
Yes.
was AKA
So he
Coke.
basically bought out the whole place and said, "Bring the best of the best." How's the best of the best? We happened to be there
He didn't mean
because
food.
of-
He meant
of-
titties.
they met. Well, they didn't meet him, but they were there for his funeral. The guy who brought us all together.
We
So-
met his ashes.
Yeah, you did actually.
So-
yeah. So anyway,
weird
so
at
we're-
all.
So we're there, and we're having a lunch with this guy, and he was like but he had all the girls, and he made them face out so he could just look at their asses as he was enjoying lunch.
Mhm.
That's
And
very weird. He's a very, very strange
he is
man.
Very strange. And he is the
Extremely
coolest motherfucker you will ever meet in your life.
Extremely strange.
So
It's a local
smart.
No, Maynard James
No,
Keenan.
Maynard James- he's
Oh, okay.
The
singer
lead of Tool?
Oh,
and
gotcha.
Perfect Circle.
Yeah, very extremely strange.
And
Extremely
extremely
strange.
amazing. Like his
He-
thought process, the way he
he
thinks. That's why I was glad that he had.
He
his own
performed
line.
at a bar that I worked at in Minneapolis, and like I
Is that
worked.
the voice of the devil? Like what I consider the devil's voice to sound like, it would sound like that.
I worked in front bar when the concert was happening, and he was just extremely strange. Like he would come to front bar and like order drinks, but he was just like
Yeah.
brooding
He is that. He
and
is
weird,
that. Yeah,
and just
yeah.
like you'd like talk to him, and he would just be like, "Ugh." He was just extremely strange, just
The
a very,
conversation
very
was-
weird man.
It was like I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I'm being sincere. Like he kind of had your thought process. It
He,
was
like-
very intriguing. Like you're like, why? I want to know more. Like
He's very,
his-
very
it's
strange.
yeah, it is. He was. I wouldn't consider it strange to me. It's not entertaining, but it's more like engaging. Like I want to engage with people.
Maybe
I don't
him
wanna
when he's
engage
in
with
like
people.
performance mode is different than when he's like in not performance mode, because like he was doing his show when he was coming to us, so like he very much had like a character to him, and you could tell. Like you talk to him, and he'd
And
just
I
be
think
like,
that's really him. But
he
I
was
think
just
it's
like
a
in
persona of
character.
what
He was
what he is.
he was very strange, but. I mean, it very much might be different when he's, not.
Think about it like this: if you listen to his music, if you 100% listen to his music, it's very
off-putting in the sense of they use timing that you don't even understand. Like if I was to say,
sound right.
No, to you it doesn't sound right. Like you're like, oh, well, I'm just regular 2/4. Him, he's like, yeah, I want to be in like 3 and 16. Like, so it's very like,
it's like very discordant.
You know what I mean? Like no, but in his brain it makes sense.
Right, for sure. And it get it, but there's like, that's kind of what I like about Tool is that like when you listen to it, it's very brain engaging, right? Because
it changes.
You have to pay
that's the whole thing. It changes.
Right,
on
and
the
that's the
fly.
thing. Like when you're listening to that standard
4/4.
beat,
It's 2/4.
right? You can just kind of go from song to song to song, and you're like, oh, it's like four songs later, and I don't
That's
really
exactly
notice.
what I was saying about today's music.
But a
It sucks.
Tool song comes in, and you're like, ooh, it like sparks your brain, and it stops, and you have to listen to it.
They're not still making new music, are they? Is Tool making?
They sort of are.
Actually, they
I
just
don't
put
know.
it out like 3 years ago. Was one of their big albums? Yeah, it was like 3 years ago that they put it out, like right before the pandemic or whatever, and it was amazing. I thought it was amazing. Well, in the sense of if you're into that kind of thing,
I love
it's-
everything Tool's ever done. I think
Well, then their latest album, you would really
Okay.
enjoy it.
So, gentlemen, we've all finished our cigars. We need to wrap
I need
this
to
up
throw this
Yeah.
thing away.
and give our closing thoughts on everything.
Oh yeah, we just hit the 2 hour.
Mine
I'll-
turned.
I'll-
I put it away.
I will start with our distinguished guest, Mick. Give us your thoughts on the pairing, the flight of the wines and the cigar. Just kind of freestyle it for us.
I think the wines were spot on. I was unfamiliar with the thirds concept of the cigar. It makes sense why these were chosen. I don't have a lot of cigars to go off of. The one you and I had, was it maybe 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
if not that? This one feels like it could be, this could be something I could enjoy like on a regular basis. I don't mean that it's not special, but it feels like it could be, I could be repetitive with it. Something I
Right.
could enjoy
What's the price point
over
on
and
this?
over again. I was going to ask that.
It's like
actually.
$12.
Okay, that's not
Okay.
too bad. I mean,
So-
like it's not necessarily a daily smoke. Like if you're,
Right.
I mean, like for Alex and I, right?
This is like looking forward to the weekend kind of a smoke.
Right.
Depends on who you're
Yeah.
talking to.
If you're talking to Alex, who clearly believes he makes way more money than he actually does, it's a budget daily smoke for him. But
Yeah.
for the rest of America and the rest of the world that are like
Regular people, basically.
that are like rooted in reality, it probably is more like I find more people choose a daily smoke that's a sub $10 price point.
Yeah.
Which I mean, because if you're smoking like one a day, you're spending that's a significant amount of money.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, but I'm glad and I appreciate you making the pivot to wine versus bourbon because it makes sense to me to put those two together. So, I mean, this was
What would you say the contrast was between this stick and the aging room that we had?
the other one felt much more heavy.
Yes.
In the sense that I don't know that I would have enjoyed that one with wine. It did not feel like a wine cigar to me. I don't know if that's a thing.
No, there is no such thing as a wine cigar.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, I think there are for sure cigars that pair better with wines than other
Yeah.
ones do. Like there's, I mean,
This
like
one's
the
kinda good.
Opuses and the God of Fires and stuff like that, they have a
Yeah.
much more charred element that I think works better with whiskey and even more so like a whiskey cocktail.
Yeah.
Because I like playing with the
Keyword cock.
specific keyword cock. I love
What-
really
What
curating
did we
those.
smoke? What was that?
It was an aging room Quattro.
Okay.
Those are delicious. Yeah, those are great.
It felt like a cold weather cigar, like something I would enjoy in the wintertime.
God, I love.
With a hot espresso.
I love-
Yes.
That's
Oh
Yes,
man, with
yes.
coffee.
Yes.
Oh
I think-
shit, that would have been perfect.
Can we do like a brunch episode sometime and mix like coffee? That would
Sure.
be great.
I mean, we can do that. We could shoot that at the house and make espresso of everybody and do a pairing.
Or I mean, we could just go like bring it somewhere
Bring it,
cool.
whatever. Well, typically you want to
Yeah.
enjoy espresso freshly after it's brewed. You don't want to have it
I'll
sit too
host
long.
that.
So that's
That's
nice.
a great patio.
There you go.
But whatever. All right. So I'd like to turn to Lindsay to tell us her thoughts on the pairing. of the cigar.
I also really, really like the wine flight. You know, I don't typically drink a whole lot of wine with cigars. It's I don't know. Usually on the weekends, I'm drinking cocktails, and during the week, I tend to not drink as much. So I usually just drink water. But I really enjoyed it. Like I had a great time actually doing the curation process. That to me was so much fun. I didn't really know what we were smoking, but I knew a couple of days ago what we were smoking. But I had like several different directions to go in it. Some of them I had chosen some white wines and some sparkling stuff, but I wanted Alex to drink with us. So I did end up going red, but I had just such a fun time curating those. And that the Rocky, because it has such a pronounced sort of stone fruitiness to it, more like plummy, raisin, stuff like that. I thought it would pair super well with reds. As always, Rockies are very well constructed. I had to touch up my burn a couple times, but I also put it down and neglected it several times. So it might have just been that. Consistency wise, it was really good. Standard Rocky, upscale Rocky.
What would you feel comfortable putting a rating of this thing?
Easily low 90s, 91-ish, I feel like it's fairly rated. I feel like the 95 that it received was
inflated.
A lot.
A little bit.
Like I wouldn't put it there. I would put it low 90s, 91. But again, I don't really have a whole lot of stuff to go off of.
So
but I had a good time.
Before I give my thoughts, just to kind of let the audience know how ridiculous Lindsay and I are. This is the conversation we had that led to the pairing of these wines with the cigar. So she wanted to know what the flavor notes were, so that she could go and choose.
I was like,
wines.
go smell it for me.
She was like, go smell it. Go smell it. Tell me what notes you pick up. And so I was like, I didn't cut it, but an examination of the foot showed a strong grape quality, super fruity and deep, like one of those fruit leather treats. Not a fruit roll up though. One of the real fruit leathers that are just naturally sweet, something like that. Kind of Fig Newton-y. You need more? It had very subtle spice though, but not really peppery. Just like, God, we're so fucking bougie.
Yeah. Like seriously, I was like standing in front of. I had narrowed it down to reds, right? But I had like 5 or 6 different areas that I was going, and I couldn't really decide on where I wanted to go with it. And also, I was only going to do one wine across the board. I was just going to grab 2 bottles of it and just go with that. But then I was like, well, there's so many different choices. Let me try to see how those flavors are going to move through the thing. So I wanted to kind of, have like a natural maturation of the flavors. And so I was just like, go smell it for me. I need like something to go off of. And then I was able to like find more precision in where I was going.
But to finish, I have to say,
but yes, we were super bougie.
It worked because I did not know how well this pairing was going to go because I'm a whiskey guy, and so I was going to keep it open mind and just I had a feeling it was going to work because I know enough about the pairings process with what we were attempting to do. I was like, this is going to work, and I remember talking with Mick before the show started, and I was just going to tell him like, this is going to be good, just brace up, and it really was. I thought that the first wine really set the tone for the whole thing because it was like, okay, we're going to just play off of these few notes right here, but we're not going to clog your palate. It's almost like it purges it while it's introducing some flavor, so that when you hit the cigar again, it's like you taste it in a new way.
So I had
really enjoyed this.
We started with the Poder La Bota Sangiovese, and I had originally chosen it to go at the end because I thought it would be more like palate clearing. And kind of last minute, I was just like, switch those 2.
No, those are the right choices.
But it was perfectly executed, and it hit all the marks it was supposed to. It was great. The cigar itself, I think that putting it right up there with the 55th is fair. It is one of their better put together sticks. I think I prefer it to the vintages. It held up really well going into that final third. It did not have the amount of busyness to the flavor that really gets me excited as I progress through a cigar. I want to be able to be like, okay, now I want to focus on these other notes. With the kind of stuff that I smoke, this was a little muted as you went through. And so where I would have rated this 6 months ago is not where I'd rate it now because I've tried so many different types of cigars and gotten keen on so many other different types of flavors that I can see what's good about this and what's limited about it. And so I think that I would feel more comfortable putting this in the high 80s just because when I'm thinking of what defines a 90s stick, that is going to be a cigar where almost after every pull, I'm going to remark about it. Did y'all see me moan one time?
Oh my God.
No moaning.
So
No moaning.
there's been,
Which is why I'm not going to put it in the 90s because I didn't moan one time.
There's
it was
been
good.
several sticks where
It was
like
not moan worthy.
I did not moan.
you can always tell when like Alex is really enjoying a stick because he becomes very quiet. Which
And he
is
says,
an unheard of.
num, num. Like
And he
you
does.
do the num, num.
And
I
he'll
do.
just
I fucking do. And I
he'll
admit
just
it.
be very quiet and then he's just like, oh
He does it.
To give you an example.
yeah, he does.
He does that.
I had my buddy Andre with the Cuban cigar selection. He came over Friday for dinner, and he always brings something interesting to smoke. Well, he brought this custom hand rolled Habano and a Romeo and Juliet Grand Churchill, which is like the top of the mountain. It's up there with the Behike as far as like how ridiculously good this stick. If you were to try to buy it through retail through the LCDH stores, I mean, we're talking like multiple hundreds of dollars per cigar. This is ridiculous. Okay, so to be able to experience one of those, it's a real treat. And I'm not gonna lie, every puff I was doing the whole, oh my god. Oh my God! What I was like, to me, I've had enough of those cigars that if I'm going to put it in the 90s, it has to have that effect on me. You know, when I wrote the Padron 50th review, that's literally what it was like. Every time I was noticing, like, dude, I can't stop reacting to this. Like, it's that freaking good. This was one of those that if you're going to a cigar meetup to have a couple of drinks with friends, this would be a great choice because you're never going to feel disappointed by it. Right. It's not going to let you down. It's going to hold up and it's going to be great. But it's not going to be one of those where you're like, dude, you got to try this.
You got to taste it.
You know, that's a rare kind of stick where you pass that around. So the aging room that we had, I still rank that considerably above this because that cigar is so good where you will shake your hand and be like, wow, this is amazingly put together. It is so flawless. So, you know, I'm thinking like 88 for this, but that's kind of where I go. So John, tell us what you think.
So I'm gonna stick with my 92. I think it's once you hit the middle mark, you're gonna. But you know what? If I gotta go like 100% honesty on this. The only thing that made this cigar was the pairing. So I think Lindsay killed it. I think she did an exceptional job on getting the notes from Alex, and then moving it into helping the cigar become what it is. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna say 92. It has those fruity notes, and for me, it was more of a grape nutty from the dry pool, and then it hit in the second third. It was pretty good. So I'm gonna stick with that. So I'm gonna say 92. It's a budget smoke to me at $12. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And with that being said, I'm the gentleman.
And I'm Alex Stanford, and I'm the scholar. And on behalf of our amazing panel and our distinguished guests, until next time, keep it smoky.
Always.
Oh my goodness.
I blinked my contact out of my fucking eye like 5 minutes ago. And I think it just went back in the right spot.
You're like, well, I can see again.
Is my right eye like all red?
Yeah,
It's
it
all
is.
red on the.
Oh my God. I was trying to dig it out.